Well, it's a lovely evening in Lisbon, and we don't know whether Borough will win tonight, but one of you will. Just answer this simple question.
To win £5,000, simply answer this question. What nationality is Middlesbrough striker Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank? A. Dutch, B. Portuguese, or C. German? To enter, call 090 15339911 or text the word football, followed by A, B or C to 81555. We'll announce the winner at the end of tonight's match. If you're a digital satellite viewer, you may also enter by pressing the red button, or alternatively, just explore the other features available in our interactive service.
Well, kick-off's a few minutes away, so let's join our commentators, Steve Claridge and John Helm. And Steve, it's a little bit better than Middlesbrough last week, the weather anyway.
Yeah, it's surprised me actually. I've caught myself out. I think I've overdone it a little bit with my coat, but certainly makes a change.
He looks very smart though, doesn't he?
So do you,
by the way,
Helmy.
the only stadium that's more colourful than Steve Claridge's career. There's a colour out there for every club that you've had, Steve.
It's funny actually because they've painted it such that it looks full even when it's empty. Did you see that when we came? I thought they're here early, but yeah.
Now, if you'd done that at Weymouth, you might still have been there. It's a cracking night for the Middlesbrough youngsters, isn't it? I mean, what a night for some of them. Even if they're only on the bench, it's a great night for them.
It's a fantastic experience. Just to feel part of it like they are, it's going to be brilliant. Just to get the atmosphere like they are. And to come to a stadium like this is fantastic, as we say. Probably a lot earlier than they would have imagined.
OK, let's have a look then at what sort of a side Steve McClaren has been able to put out. No Michael Reisiger or Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank from last week. Tony McMahon takes Reisiger's place. Shillard Nemeth is going to partner Joseph Desiree Job with Danny Graham, the only other striker in the squad on the bench.
Yeah, I mean, they really are short of numbers, aren't they? I mean, the two boys up front, as we said previously, they've still got a point to prove at Middlesbrough, you know. I mean, he bought the two boys he brought in the summer simply because it's literally saying, well, hold on a minute, I don't think that you've done the job that I brought you here for.
OK, now the Sporting side, whose defeat, by the way, at the weekend relegated them to 5th place in the league. They've lost Fabio Rockenbach, as you've heard, and they've chosen to leave out the pigeon-catching Cameroon striker Rudolf Douala, replacing them with the international Beto and the man they call the Maverick, Ricardo Sapinto.
I was thinking, what would they call me? Probably the tortoise catcher or something like that.
Maverick too.
There's some very slow pigeons around where I'm from, but no, it's obviously we came here early and we're talking to the supporters, and that there's a fair amount of trepidation after the way that Sporting played at Middlesbrough. I think I mean the game will be decided probably in the first half an hour as to how Middlesbrough start and whether they can get that vital first goal.
Well, at least the pitch looks good. There is the goalkeeper Ricardo, and there is the coach of the home side, Jose Pesero, who's 44 years of age. He was number 2, by the way, last year at Real Madrid to Carlos Queiroz, who's now, of course, at Manchester United. 7:45 here in the evening as well. It seems unusual to come abroad and be on the same time as we are in England.
Yeah, I'm still trying to work out how that is. I mean, is that normal? Is it because their clocks haven't gone back or ours haven't gone forward?
Listen, when you work for 5, you don't ask technical questions.
No, that's going out of our range, really, isn't it?
Here's our referee, Monsieur Eric Poula. And we have a lady lineswoman tonight as well, Nelly Viano, along with Lionel Dagon.
A lady lineswoman.
Exactly.
Technically correct there, I suppose.
Politically correct, yes. Well, Sporting in the green and white hoops. Those are their traditional colours. Middlesbrough, of course, in all red. And there is Frank Cadrew, the Frenchman. So at least he'll be able to talk to the referee. Not that players are encouraged to talk to referees these days, of course. Now this is the left-sided Hugo Viana, who's on loan here from Newcastle United. And he's a good player, Viana. It's not quite worked out for him up on Tyneside, but he is a good player. As we saw last week, he could have scored twice in the opening 10 minutes of that game.
Yeah, it's strange how some clubs, you know, don't suit certain players. You know, I mean, I've just been through it at Brentford. It was nothing to do with them, nothing really to do with me. It just didn't work out for one reason or another. And that's, you know, that's the same thing as Viana. But he's obviously got good qualities. They paid a lot of money for him, and he's come back. He probably feels at home. He's, you know, done very well here.
Well, I think that is, isn't it? You can be homesick.
Crespo's another one.
Crespo, very much a very good case in point. This ball will be back to Mark Schwarzer. Well, figuring in the move there was Pedro Barbosa, who was extremely influential last week in the second half when Sporting got so much on top. Now then, the first opportunity to get into Sporting territory, and down the left-hand side goes Stuart Downing in the England squad at the moment. Useful ball in, it just misses out Joseph Desiree Job out for a goal kick, but that's a better delivery than Downing managed probably all last week.
Yeah, very, very encouraging. I mean, what was nice to see was the tackle by Zenden in midfield. I mean, he's gone through with his tackle. There's lots and lots of referees on the continent would have given a foul probably, but he hasn't. He's let it go on, and that's encouraging signs.
Kadru. Harassed by Barbosa. Sporting are not in the greatest form. They did play well for an hour last week up at the Riverside, but when they were beaten at home at the weekend by 2-0, the crowd really got at them, and they're down now to 5th in the table.
Yeah, I mean, as we say, I mean, if they can get a goal, Middlesbrough, you know, we'll see how confident they really are, Sporting. I mean, the 2-goal advantage is psychologically it's massive. If Middlesbrough can reduce that to a goal, I think we probably might see a few nerves, as you say.
Liedson.
It looks an awfully open game as well, by the way.
Edge of that area, it does look open. It's a big wide pitch, of course.
It is.
The last time I was here was about 4 years ago in the old stadium when Real Madrid were playing. It was Luis Figo's debut in Europe for Real against the Portuguese side, of course. But of course it was reconstructed for the European Championship, for one of so many splendid stadiums in Portugal.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what's strange is as you get older, the pitches do seem to get bigger. I don't know why.
Nothing to do with being 39. You should worry. Rui Jorge. Useful, and the dangerous ball there, it nearly got to Liedson, and last week Liedson and Douala were a formidable pairing up front, and Steve McLaren, and now he's very relieved that Douala's not there with his electric pace. Yeah.
It doesn't seem like they've come to close the game down, you know. It's probably, as we say, that 2-goal advantage. I mean, they're going into this game probably, you know, thinking it's going to be difficult for Middlesbrough to get that back. But, as we say, if they can get that all-important first goal, then we'll see what they're made of.
Schwartz has been playing with a bit of a knee injury. There is Beto, by the way, and there is Szilard Nemeth, the Slovakian international. Very cosmopolitan these days.
He'll have a big part to play, won't he, Schwarzer, I think, tonight.
Yeah, he's going to be putting on some pressure, but he's a big, confident goalkeeper.
Yeah, he is.
He looks commanding.
Yeah.
Sort you want back there. Not beyond Job, but it's ironic that Middlesbrough signed the likes of Mark Viduka and Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank for just this sort of a night, and neither of them can play. And I know last week we chronicled the injuries, but when you lose Eki Hogg and Boateng...
Oh, there's no doubt. There's no doubt. I mean, Middlesbrough have always been a side that have always been a club that have probably had 6 or 7 real superstars ever since Steve McLaren took over and Mr. Gibson. But they've never really had that size of squad that sees them through real injury problems like tonight. And as you say, it's on those times when they look a little bit vulnerable. I mean, what are we talking about? 5 18-year-olds, aren't we, on the bench or something?
4 18-year-olds and 1 19-year-old on the bench, yeah.
Colin Cooper sort of like just raises the age.
He's babysitting.
Yeah.
Danger here, edge of that area, Liedson into the area, and down he goes, and the referee won't give anything for that.
Awful.
That's good to see it.
Yeah.
Well, good, strong referee. He was not to be fooled there, was he?
No, I would even go so far as to say that he probably deserved a booking for that, because that was quite blatant.
Absolutely. There is too much of it in the game, Steve, and I know you've expressed your concern at it. It's a developing trend.
Yes, I think, you know, at times there are... It's a tough one, because the more that people do it, then the more that you know, people cry wolf. The more they're not given when they are, you know, when it's vital that they should be given, and I don't know, things like that. But I mean, that's for me, that's for video evidence.
I'm with you. The video technology has got to come. Free kick Middlesbrough anyway, and it's up into that penalty area, and we're looking for Middlesbrough to get the first goal here. It was towards Job. Zenden with a header too high. First chance of the night, though, for Middlesbrough.
That's an opportunity. It looks like from the free kicks, dead balls, Riggett's got way above his man. I'm a little bit disappointed. Job hasn't anticipated that getting across there, because, you know, he's getting up. He's not going to get great leverage on it. But I think what you've got to do is the man, Mark, you've just got to get across the man who's in front of you. And then if it goes over your head, so be it. You leave it for someone else. It's encouraging, though. Dead balls, free kicks, corners, you know, always used to be our forte, didn't it?
Very much so. This break for Liedson, who's the top goal scorer in Portugal. Laid back across, and there's always Southgate there.
Not quite sure what the crowd will expect tonight. whether or not if they don't perform well, or if the game is a little bit of a struggle, whether they will get on their back, or whether they'll just say, well, we've got 2 goals in hand, it's not going to be a major problem. How many do you think's here? It's difficult to know how many people are here, isn't it?
Well, they're talking about 20 to 25,000. The capacity is 52,000, which is disappointing, really. Middlesbrough have brought 2,300 fans here. Just gives me a chance, by the way, to say, as always, we're interested in receiving your messages by text. All you have to do is text the word comment, followed by your views and your name, to 888. That's 80088. The cost is just 25p. And if you're a digital satellite viewer, you can add your comment by pressing the red button. And this is a free kick to the side in red. And hit long by young McMahon. He's another of the teenagers, of course, who's out there in the starting line. Just 18, Tony McMahon. He'll be have a birthday next week, 19. Just a bit older than you, Steve. A bit younger than you, Edson to Pedro Barbosa, who scored that excellent first goal at the Riverside last weekend. His ball, well, that's not measured, not like the shot was last week. Rolled out calmly by Schwarzer. That's an awkward ball, a loss by Parnaby, but he's been fortunate. He's got it back and he's given it to Job immediately. There's a movement ahead from Nemeth on the inside channel. Still Job going. He's done well here, but as he pulls it back, it is only to the defender Beto. And that launches a counter raid, and it is opening up just a little bit here, worryingly from a Middlesbrough point of view. The little touchdown might have been a bit heavy, just kept in by Viana though. And Hugo Viana, that might have got a touch off the defender. And not so well. Arms around me are raised, and I'm not surprised. That, for me, took a touch off the Middlesbrough man. It should have been a corner kick, but the Frenchman, thankfully from Middlesbrough's point of view, said goal kick.
Yeah, they've got a point. I mean, the build-up for the previous attack from Middlesbrough was slow enough to expect a couple of lads from midfield, maybe to break into the area. I know they're going to leave themselves vulnerable. I know they're going to be susceptible to the counter-attack, but they've got to score 2 goals tonight. And you might as well go and get beat 5 as get a 0-0 draw. So just like to see Zender maybe, Deriva getting into the box, just giving Job something there on offer.
This is Job. He's confronted by 3 in green and white, but he's played it wide, just too far ahead of Downing. If that ball had been a foot further back, it would have been perfect. But the cross is useful, and Job is up for it. And he gets his header away, but so is the clearance effected as well. Well, that will be a free kick, undoubtedly, against McMahon.
So disappointing. I mean, that is a fantastic opportunity there.
There's a big gap on the left.
Yeah, I mean, he's just playing him in. He's literally he's 1 against 1 there, and he'll be gutted that he hasn't managed to get the right weight of the ball, because down in that position on his stronger left foot comes in, you'd have to fancy him. What a great time to score as well. It's just little things like that can win or lose you a game.
Well, it's a big prize, isn't it? I mean, to get into the last 8 of the UEFA Cup, and to me, what would have acted as a spur for Middlesbrough was the Newcastle result last evening. One side there from the northeast of England. Great win for Newcastle against Olympiacos.
Yeah, I went there last week, and they played very, very well. I mean, I know they were 2 sent off, but even having said that, they started the game very well. And I always thought they were capable of scoring goals against Olympiacos. Just surprised they had 4 previous 1-0s. It was incredible. But as I say, we've got a nice open game already. He started well, Job. It's quite lively. I mean, what he has been able to do is pick that ball up between the midfield and defence and run at the back 4.
Yes, he has started. He's taken up intelligent positions. And of course, he's had the problem all season of not being a regular member of the starting lineup. And here is Rui Jorge, who's a seasoned international. And then the younger Viana, although he's won 13 caps for Portugal too. Rui Jorge. And Moutinho. Top of the job there, Chris Riggott, one of the goal scorers last week, who breathed hope. Is this a free kick? I think it is this time. No matter how Zenden protests, the French referee, Mr. Poulain, will say free kick. He looks a stern man, doesn't he, this referee?
Yeah, I think what Zenden was a little bit worried about was getting booked. I don't think he was really saying about the free kick. It was probably more that he felt he might have got booked for it, because if they are going to have to make tackles, Deriva and Zenden are going to have to sit and break the play up as much as they can and get forward as well. So they're going to have a massive part to play if Middlesbrough are going to make an impact in this game.
Steve McLaren was saying they couldn't afford to go a goal behind in this game. So any situation like this is of concern. Beto is the one lining it up if it's a right-footed shot. And Viano's there if it's the left foot. make your pick, you take your choice, and the choice is Beto, who'll get it through. That's well gathered by Schwarzer, down on his knees, but that's a routine stop for a goalkeeper of his quality.
It is, but what's a little worrying is that you've got 3 Sporting players coming in on the end of it, as you can see, and only 1 Middlesbrough player. If that ball does come back off Schwarzer, you know, you'd expect a defender rather than an attacker to be there. That wasn't the case.
Still, it's 0-0 at the moment. A reminder of the overall situation, of course. It's 3-2 to Sporting from last week at the Riverside. But, well, we could have 3-2 to Middlesbrough, in which case we'd have extra time and possibly penalties. But somehow you feel that that's an unlikely scenario.
Yeah, I'll lay you if you want to have a little bounce.
Well, I know you like a little flutter. McMahon, who hadn't even made a first-team appearance before this season. It really has been a wonderful season of learning for some of the youngsters up at the Riverside. And there are 4 18-year-olds on the bench and 1 19-year-old. One of them, by the way, Jason Kennedy, who's an 18-year-old midfielder. It's his first time ever on the team sheet. What a place to potentially make your debut.
Absolutely. I mean, they're in that almost no man's land, aren't they? Where they've got into they've established themselves. They're a good top 10 side. Now is the time when people expect you to push on. And believe you me, for a club of Middlesbrough size, it's probably the most difficult thing. And this is where people really do feel the pressure.
Disappointed last night, of course, to see themselves slip behind Charlton, down to 8th spot as a result of Charlton's win over Spurs. And by the way, I've got some news for fans of Middlesbrough. They are going to enter the Intertoto Cup for next season, but only if they can be allowed in at the 3rd round stage, I'm told.
Some of the players will be pleased about that, won't they?
It'll start next week, then.
Get your holidays in quick, chaps.
You'd love that, wouldn't it? 1 week summer holiday.
Fantastic. It gets shorter and shorter as it is. I used to remember it was like 2 or 3 months off. Now you're lucky if you get 2 or 3 weeks.
Absolutely. Viana with a downward header, which will bring Luis Jota to play. And he's got 5 in green and white hoops ahead of them. The traditional Sporting Lisbon colours, as I say, very popular club here in Lisbon. They are the Lions. So the Glasgow Celtic being called the Lions of Lisbon, and they're on the European Cup game.
I think what they will do is Middlesbrough, when Sporting get the game, they'll allow them to get the ball wide. What they want to do is concentrate them in central areas and then go out. So as you can see, they will work the ball, they'll get the ball wide, but what Middlesbrough don't want is that.
This might be worrying Barbosa. Well, thankfully, I think from a Middlesbrough point of view, he decided to go for goal there, and he could have approached by another 5 or 6 yards. Yeah,
he obviously didn't get a shout, but that's exactly what I'm talking about. They've got to make them go wide and then take your positions from there, because if you let them through the middle, invariably the sides of this ilk have got fantastic movement, great skill, great ability, and they will hurt you.
Portuguese sides have always been renowned for their technical ability.
Yeah, I mean, what you want to do is, if they get the ball wide, you want to put the ball in the box from some sort of distance.
This is danger. This is Liedson, the top scorer in Portugal, and he's won a corner kick.
Because you'd fancy Southgate or Riggott to be able to defend anything that comes into the box. Stuff like that, the intricate little play, is always very, very difficult. They haven't made the most of the good opportunities so far, Sporting, have they?
Nope, they haven't. And I say they're not in the best of form after a 2-0 defeat at the weekend against Penafiel. Here is their corner, though, and it's at the in-swinger, which is clutched by Schwarzer, the Australian. Ooh, and he just seemed to feel his knee as he kicked the ball there, but it's a great delivery, and Job is one-on-one now, and if the goalkeeper had brought him down there, Middlesbrough might have had a goal. It's in, and here is a chance still for Nemeth, and Nemeth's shot is cleared off the line, and Middlesbrough have come closest to a goal so far. And again, that goalkeeper, he was committing himself, maybe he had to do on that occasion. Yeah. I thought he was going to bring Job down at one moment.
I thought he did well, actually, there to see Job out. I mean, he's made it very difficult, allowed his defenders to get back. It was a centre-half, it looked like he was struggling for literally from the kick. Lovely first touch by Job as well. Job, sorry. I thought he was going to get a penalty out of it.
It is Job, by the way. He likes to be called Joseph Desiree Job.
Job.
We say Job so easily, don't we? It rolls off the tongue. But anyway, he's Joseph Desiree Job, and he did well on this occasion. There was the ball. He took it down beautifully.
Just hoping that the goalie's just going to mistime that challenge and bring him down. He'll be looking for the penalty. So unlucky there.
Yeah, but to be fair to the defender, he did the job he's paid to do.
Absolutely. I mean, that's why the goalkeeper's done that, allowing his defenders to get back on the line. He's just held him up for that split second.
Yeah, it was
encouraging, though, isn't it? I mean, it's not, what you didn't want was to come in and not have couldn't see either side scoring. But like I say, if they're going to get beat, they're going to go down fighting.
Yeah, he's crossed pass this time is dealt with. I think it was Ruggiero, by the way, with that clearance off the line, the Brazilian. He was in possession now. Totally turned in field, but it turned out well for Berra that time. And again, there's space down the left. If Joe just tickles it across there, Zenden, he has sent Downing for company. First time ball from Downing, and it whipped across, and the goalkeeper missed it completely.
I think he's left it, actually. The problem there is Nemeth could have just slipped the ball in there much earlier. It's taken too long. I don't really think he can get that, and he knows there's not going to be any real danger behind him.
He looks as if he was going to try and head it, the goalkeeper.
I don't know whether he's just limping there for a minute or two. That was all. I don't know whether he could actually get proper spring on his job.
Yeah, Ricardo is limping.
Nemeth had a super opportunity to put Downing in that little fraction earlier there. I think when you say about they had a little bit of a tough time at the weekend, there's once or twice they have snatched at opportunities, and that really when a team lacks, it's difficult to say, when you're 2 goals ahead, but that little bit of confidence, you do tend to snatch at your chances and take them that little bit earlier than you should. I mean, he's done everything right, Nemeth, there, really. I mean, he hasn't got time to look up, see and plant his shot. Just knows he's got it past the first one. Unfortunately, it's just the wrong corner.
Absolutely. And the goalkeeper is struggling. Look, Ricardo, he's not happy, is he? Well, they have an experienced goalkeeper on the bench in Nelson, who was in fact their first choice. Let's hope he's only got one eye.
Stole my thunder, don't ever do that. I did.
Sorry, Nick. Now then, Nakarahira. Terry Butcher struggled with his name a little bit last week. I can't understand why. John's taking up a position out wide left now. Of course, all good strikers, as you would know, move around a little bit just to try and shake things up.
Yeah, movement.
Drag somebody out with you.
Absolutely. It's not always, you don't always, first movement isn't always for yourself. It's often to open up space for other people.
Good spell of possession this for Berra.
It's just that first goal, isn't it?
Yep.
Well, you can get that. It really will be. You can't underestimate how much it will be game on if they do get that goal.
Very much so. They need 2, of course, because of the away goals. But if they get that one,
all of a sudden,
massive encouragement.
Yeah.
Now the goalkeeper's taken his free kick, and he's found Rui Jorge, who had a rest at the weekend. He's 31, so they gave him a break at the weekend and played one of the youngsters in the team. Now Hugo. He's even older than 31. No, he's not actually. He's 28, Hugo. He looks one of those centre-halves who looks as though he's been playing forever, doesn't he?
Because he's got an extremely large part in the world. They're not infallible, though, are they?
Absolutely not. As I say, they're a long way behind Benfica, who are the leaders in the league here now. 6 points behind them.
Well, this becomes very important, doesn't it?
For their season.
This competition,
well, with the final being played here as well.
Yeah, all of a sudden it's a really important competition for them.
And Nakarahira, Nigerian international known as The Rock. Now the crowd are suddenly getting a bit noisier. They've been fairly quiet. Middlesbrough have kept them reasonably quiet until now. And that's good defending again by Doriva. He was in there making the challenge sharply. They've won it back here, however, but the whistle's sounded, and the referee's going to pull it back. Well, that's good referee.
Fantastic referee. He looks excellent, by the way. I mean, I was wondering when he was actually going to pull it back. The game went on for a little while. Normally, I think it's 90s.
You never had him in the Doc Martens, did you?
No, he certainly didn't. But he started. I mean, like I say, the way he interprets the game can have a big effect on how it's played.
Southgate, the captain, with the free kick for Berra. It's going to drift out harmlessly, but so long as it stays this way, Middlesbrough are very much in the game.
They are. Can't say it enough. It's just that vital first goal, isn't it? As I say, the game is very, very open. They've started very well, Middlesbrough. They've gone with a game plan, and so far it seems to have worked.
Yep, the fans making a noise. I say there are over 2,000 of them. Enjoyed themselves last night. I told some of them had a lobster that cost £100. I can't believe that. Must have been good. Drop of rosé to help it down, so I believe. Here comes Sporting now. They are known simply as Sporting, by the way. I remember when Bobby Robson was in charge of, they sort of tried to change their name to Sporting Portugal, and the fans wouldn't have it. They're just Sporting. We all know they come from Lisbon. Sporting's enough. And they were very sporting, by the way, last week. I think there was just the one booking in the game at the Riverside, which is extraordinary in a European game of this importance.
Yeah, it looks a game that is going to be played in the right manner, shall we say. It doesn't look like there's too much animosity. It's a game that obviously is going to be allowed to flow because of the referee. But apart from the one obvious dive, I mean, they haven't. I think that sets the tone as well, doesn't it? If the referee gives that, I think almost in a way it's a licence for them to carry on behaving like that. Because he hasn't, all of a sudden we don't immediately it cuts out of the game.
That was a trick by Zenden. He's the one who's having to be careful now. He's given away 2 free kicks. Beto chasing, job with the reverse ball. Dash forward from Downey. He's got options here, left and right, and he'll choose to bring the play right. First time ball across here from Parnaby. No bicycle kick this time from Joseph Desiree Job.
Yeah, I thought it just pulled off enough there to. I think he was looking for it, but the defender was just able to get back.
Fabulous goal he scored last week. Reminiscent of your days with Aldershot. It was a cracking goal. I don't know if you saw it, but the bicycle kick. It really got Middlesbrough back into a game that they'd never been a part of, really.
It's strange because, as you say, I mean, they're more than playing a part in this, and it just. You know, as I say, the supporters were saying how fantastic Sporting were and all that, but they've started very well with this one.
Yeah, this is Pedro Barbosa, who helped swing the game last week. He just changed things around a little in the second half, and it paid dividends for them. Well, he's given this free kick. And I don't like this referee for the fact he sort of waits and sees what develops, and then he chooses.
It was a free kick.
It was Deriva, wasn't it?
I thought he got the ball there, but, I think it's more that the reaction of the players got in that free kick than the actual tackle, I think.
You just got a glimpse there, by the way, of the youth on the Middlesbrough bench, including that youngster Jason Kennedy, who's 18 years of age, come out of the FA Youth Cup winning side, along with Danny Graham, who's 19, David Wheater, centre-back, he's only 18, Adam Johnson, he's 18, and Andrew Taylor.
It's funny how it goes in spells like that, where clubs get years where they get fantastic, proper youngsters, and then you go 5 or 6 years without.
That's not a problem, is it?
No, I think Middlesbrough were more than happy with keeping Sporting at arm's length, and certainly if they put the ball in the box, you would expect Middlesbrough to deal with it. So the longer they keep them away from goal, I think the better it will be. That's why they're playing those condensed areas in the central. They're trying to make it as condensed as possible.
Sporting Lisbon 0, Middlesbrough 0. Sporting, of course, a club with a great tradition. They've played Champions League football here. And the man who's been the quietest for me so far has been Sapinto, the other striker, the one who's been brought in last week. They had the electric pace of the Cameroon international Douala. But Sapinto's a much more experienced man, but he's barely had a kick so far tonight.
I think what they're probably looking for him to do is get it and keep it for them, and just take the pace out and take the sting out of the game. But they simply haven't been able to do that, Sporting.
Talk of the devil, he got involved there. It's he who's chasing here now, putting a bit of pressure on so that when the ball is cleared, it's over the halfway line straight to Ugo, who scored a goal against Newcastle United. Up at Newcastle United pre-season against Feyenoord in the Newcastle Gateshead Cup. Not a lot of people knew that. Here he is again, Ugo. Now Rui Jorge. Here from Porto, and he's won 6 Portuguese titles with his 2 clubs. Well, good hustling from Middlesbrough here. Yeah. Frustrating Sporting at the moment, frustrating the home supporters as well. As Steve Claridge said a bit ago, it's difficult to know how many people are in here because of the colour of the seats. It looks as though every seat is taken, but believe you me, they're not. But it's not a bad atmosphere.
No, I mean this is fine. Middlesbrough won't mind this. They'll let them get the ball wide, as I say.
Oh, there's Middlesbrough to get 2 goals. That's the problem.
Yes.
And this is Sapinto, who scored a goal in the European Championships in 1996 at Hillsborough.
It's good. It's important. Yeah, I mean, when they do get the chance to get the ball, it's important that they keep it for a period of time. No good just smashing the ball out and expecting to defend and defend and defend. When you get it, you've got to keep it. And yeah, you might have to take a couple of risks.
That was Moutinho, but he showed too much of the ball to Kadru. When Kadru gets it forward, Middlesbrough have a break on here with 3 against 4. And they still have a chance. Job is in the penalty area. That's good defending. Hugo's a big solid fellow, and he wasn't about to make a mistake there. But he's picked up a knock.
since he's got goal side, I mean, there's only going to be one winner, wasn't it? I think it just maybe fractionally overhit by Down in there. He's held his run there really well, but he just I think a fraction heavy.
Can you believe he's only 28, by the way? Hugo. There we are. Here he is. Oh no, that's with Moutinho. He's number 28 as opposed to Hugo, who's
I think it's probably more it's the hair that does it, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm not really in a position to speak, so unlike yourself.
Zenman couldn't control it. This eccentric goalkeeper, Ricardo, he wears number 76, by the way, because he was born in 1976. In case you wonder,
a few people do that, actually.
Yeah.
I really wonder what tell my age to
I won't ask you. I know, actually, but I want to reveal
that stage where you sort of...
The Wigan Wanderers manager might be listening.
Yes.
It's amazing how many free kicks have been committed right out on that far touchline, which is the best place to give away a free kick, to be honest. And Gareth knows that, doesn't he?
I'll say they'll want to keep them as wide as possible. Tuck people in. It's just that central area.
They've certainly kept Lee Edson quiet so far. He was very, very good at times last week. He took his goal superbly well.
This referee has done very, very well. Very well indeed.
Tribute to Eric Pula. That was almost a giveaway. Now then, who's going to be quickest here? Well, it was McMahon, and now it's Parnaby, another of the youngsters who's making good progress this season with Borough.
Had to make that tackle, didn't he?
Yep, there he is again. Here's your man, Hugo, into Job. Job's ball is intercepted, cleared by Beto. As far as Doriva, the Brazilian, who played some of his club football here in Portugal with Campo Marense and with Porto. Now the coach there, he only took over this season, Parceiro. And they won't be happy with him if they don't finish in the top three, that's for certain. They're fifth right now. Unless they win the UEFA Cup, of course.
Yeah, I was going to might soften the blow.
Took the words right out of your mouth. Yeah. Parnaby. I don't know, Real Madrid, you've got to win the league and the European Cup. Nicely flicked inside by Vaiana. Moutinho, who's only 18 years of age in his first season of first-team football. Ruggiero, who likes to get forward, but he's not had many opportunities. Southgate there again, hooking the ball to safety. He's a safe pair of hands, Gareth Southgate, as well as Haroon.
He is, very much so. Yeah. Excellent all-round.
You must have played against him at time or two.
I actually played with him at Crystal Palace, believe it or not. He was a central midfielder then. But, you know, he's one of those that really all-round his game is so strong. You know, he's competent enough to play anyway.
Well, then Alan Smith was the manager, wasn't he?
Steve Coppin was the manager. Alan Smith was the youth team. Reserves and youth team manager.
Right again, Rui Jorge. Sapinto. 4 red shirts to confront him. Sapinto doesn't even get past the first red shirt, occupied by 18-year-old McMahon. He had really good games, I remember, in the UEFA Cup against Lazio and Villarreal. Villarreal, by the way, had a goalless draw last evening with Steaua Bucharest. Villarreal would be one of my tips, actually, to get just about all the way there, a good side. Some good teams left in as well, Seville, Parma.
Not really sure of the concept of this cup yet, though. They play quite a lot of games, don't they? You know, it seems like the Champions League have cut theirs, just chucked it in at the UEFA Cup.
This is the 10th game in this season's competition for both of these sides, and the ball right now is with Stuart Parnaby, who looks more comfortable in this role than he did last week when he played inside Michael Reisiger. Now it's Joseph Desiree Job. They can't retain the possession. Swept away, but they've only got one man up there, and that's Lee Edson, and he's hounded all the way by Kadru, as a result of which the Frenchman wins it. And he must have felt very isolated, Lee Edson.
He actually looks a very... I mean, I've seen Kadru on 4 or 5 occasions, and it's a really competent defender, by the way.
He's improved tremendously from his first season here when he came from Lens. Hit up there, Job's in between the 2 defenders, and unfortunately he stumbled and fell over, and I think the whistle's gone anyway. looks to be enjoying himself, the ref.
Yeah, he's having a good. Well, I mean, you like to see Middlesbrough just it's getting a little bit stretched and they're getting a little bit isolated up front. Just maybe push up a little bit more from the back and just so that the two midfield boys haven't got too far to go.
Now that was a good run from Sapinto, but he's fallen to ground, and there was nobody made him fall to ground. He simply slipped. Unfortunately, for Sporting's point of view, Melling Kadru all left foot and finds himself over on the right-hand touchline, Downing rather, out on the right-hand touchline.
His pace could hurt these. I mean, I don't think there's anybody, every time he's picked the ball up, that actually believes they can go with him. You know, they've just passed him on in effect. So if he can get the ball in areas where he can get at people, his pace is going to cause him a few problems.
Well, he has been one of the success stories of this memorable season for Middlesbrough. 2 or 3 of their old players are here tonight. Craig Hignett, John Hendry, Bernie Slaven, all working in the media, and all would love to have played, I'm sure, in a stadium as good as this.
Yeah, it's a fantastic place, isn't it?
Great city, Lisbon, as well. Rui Jorge. It's been a comparatively sort of quiet first half, really. Not a great deal has happened. In fact, when you look back, Middlesbrough had the best chance with the clearance off the line.
They've had 2 good chances, haven't they? You know, ideally, if we can get a goal from Middlesbrough, I think the whole could be a stake in the obvious, but the whole complexion will change.
He's got long legs, Kadru, and he stretched twice there to win the ball successfully, but now it's a free kick Sporting's way. Zenden again. Foul number 3 of his night. This was a Kadru stretching. There wasn't a foul there. It was after that moment. Here.
I think as well what you have got is you've got probably 3 against 2 in the midfield as well. That's why Deriva and Zenden will be at times look a little bit stretched, and that's possibly why on 1 or 2 occasions they're just getting caught and they're just a little bit late.
Yeah, I've just spotted down on the touchline, by the way, some interesting movement, because it appears to me as though Douala, who is lightning quick, is going to come on as a substitute already.
He better be quick after the build-up you've given him, by the way.
I'd put money on that. The word from our man on the touchline is that he's going to come on in place of Hugo. Interesting switch. Striker for defender. Hugo, I think, did feel a bit of a knock earlier. We saw him, didn't we? And but it's still an interesting switch if that's what it is going to be. That move will be made here now as we have a look at the green and white flags fluttering, and now this is Douala. He scored the 3rd goal last week. It was a bit of a tap-in, but he was there. And now he comes on, and a sympathetic round of applause for Hugo, who's had a few injury problems. Looks to be walking all right as he goes off. Maybe they're not going to risk him any further. They've got a rather big match coming up next Monday, I think it is, with Porto.
Right. He does look a little bit ginger, you've got to say, the way he's walking off. I just think that, I mean, I think their managers decide, you know, if we do concede here, you know, I think the best thing for us is to get the first goal, because if we don't, and we do concede, which have had 2 opportunities, you know, this could be a real problem for us.
Well, Middlesbrough played exactly the way Steve McLaren said that they would play. Now it is Douala, and he's got a ball in straight away, which is a good job that Riggett was in the way of that one. Kadru, in fact, got the header away, but it now is with Liedson. Southgate.
Nice if they could nick something before half time.
Well, there he is. He's got his strategy right, hasn't he, Steve McLaren?
Yep.
He's got a big match at the weekend to think about as well, Southampton. As the Middlesbrough strive to get back into those UEFA Cup places.
It's just so strange that they have looked so solid tonight. You know, you would never have thought they would have conceded 3 goals. Middlesbrough at home, you know, are normally so strong. I mean, it's a way that they have this. Right. You know, they're not great. A little bit like the Newcastle scenario. It's almost like they can't travel in England, but when they go abroad, you know, away from home, they seem to play very well.
Yeah, they've only lost at home to Chelsea and Manchester United all season. And of course last week against Sporting. That was just a shot there, by the way, of another substitute, Carlos Martins, warming up. I don't know whether that's significant or not, but he looked to be going through quite a vigorous stretching exercise. Anyway, it's still Sporting 0, Middlesbrough 0. And we're well into the first half. What do we have? About 35, 36 minutes, I think. Another slip by Barbosa that time, but then he was back there to snap up the loose ball, was Douala. Barbosa. Well, the red shirts converged. De Riva was one of them. Parnaby. He is dispossessed, and it's all the way back to the goalkeeper Ricardo, who doesn't seem to have touched the ball since that little episode where he missed the cross ball in from Downing.
Yeah, they've taken a little bit of control of the game, you know. I mean, I think Middlesbrough can allow them to do this for too long.
Yeah, the onus is on Bury, isn't it? They've got to get these goals.
So.
They'd welcome a 0-0 Wood Sporting. Not sure we would. We'd like to see a goal or two. On 5. Louis George is caught here. It's a free kick against Nemeth.
Whatever you say, I mean, it's been a very solid performance from Middlesbrough.
It has. So they've worked at it. Steve McLaren and Steve Harrison is an assistant.
When you look at what's available, what they've got to put out, they've got it spot on.
Coutinho's through ball. Sapinto has now dropped into a midfield role with Douala arriving, because he's very much a front runner. And he'll be up there around the area with Liedson. This is where they're dangerous. It is Liedson, and then it is Douala. Liedson again, 3 of them hustling in there. And eventually Zenden gets a touch on it, but it is still picked up once again. Liedson's in the area. The cross comes over now. There's a problem. Liedson, and well, it was nearly a fresh air shot. He miskicked it, and that is a let-off, but still the opportunity is here. Schwartz has palmed it down. The save is effected. It's still 0-0. But that's probably the clearest opening that has been created there for Viana.
Yeah, just a push and run, wasn't it? Just carried on his run, played the ball wide, carried his run on. I thought he'd actually picked the wrong man out there, but it did find its way through. And they're one of them. You know, you might just lose it just as the defender tries to clear. Might just lose the sight of the ball just for that split second, and that's what can stop you from making a good contact. But they are the ones that either fly in or fly over.
But it wasn't let off the way Liedson nearly had a fresh air shot. They've just picked up the momentum again here, Sporting.
Yeah, they've taken control of the last 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
Viana. All the red shirts are massed, though, in a ring almost. Coutinho. Across to Ruggiero. Brazilian international. Liedson. And Barbosa. The oldest man in the team at 34. Clever ball from Barbosa, good supporting play from Rui Jorge. 3 in green and white hoops in that penalty area. It's headed away bravely by Southgate. Then Douala. Clever ball for Sapinto. Ricochet favours Berra. It carries the ball out as far as Downing. And we're getting towards the interval at 0-0.
Well, Sapinto was almost playing that Paul Scholes almost role, where he's been pushed right up front. It didn't look particularly comfortable. You know, he likes to play in that little hole. As I say, what they've said is, well, all right, that's fine. We'll make a 3 against 2 in there. You know, and we'll try and get good possession, get the ball wide, and you know, and that extra runner from midfield can cause you problems, as we saw previously. We need a goal, don't we? We need a goal from Middlesbrough. Quite simply.
OK, I'll just remind you about football night tonight, which is at midnight. John Barnes there, looking back at the week's UEFA Cup action. There's also a feature on Norwich City, Nigel Worthington's Norwich, and a preview of the Merseyside derby with the former Everton striker Graham Sharp. And a word too about some more international football coming your way on 5, and that is the international between Israel and the Republic of Ireland. That's on Easter Saturday, that's March the 26th. That's live on 5 at 5:35. Israel against the Republic of Ireland. A World Cup qualifier, of course, for Brian Kerr's side. But here the coach, Jose Pesero, he's too happy about the way this half's gone. They've certainly created very little. I mean, Mark Schwarzer hasn't had a difficult save to effect.
Yeah, I mean, it's very, very difficult when you've got a 2-goal advantage. Subconsciously, it's difficult to I say raise your game. It's not, but you know that you're comfortable at 2-0. You know, I think we'll probably see a different game, a different team if they were to concede that goal.
Well, let's hope here, fingers crossed, for a Stuart Downing free kick, which is floated inaccurately. They're all in here for it. Oh, it's gone wide, and what a chance it was as well. Oh, the flag had been raised. Well, Jobe and Riggott and Southgate were all in for the header, and they seem to have got into decent position here. Now, where did he put the flag up?
Just offside initially, yeah, just the first one. To be fair, he's done it well. It's actually, I think it's
Jobe's header.
Yeah, but I think it's taken a deflection actually from his header. I don't think he's made a great contact on it. But as you say, it's...
He'd have been annoyed if it had been ruled out, wouldn't he?
He would, very much so.
Looked a very good chance.
Gone away a little bit from the, you know, giving the benefit of the doubt to the attacker, haven't we? It always used to, you know, if there was any element of doubt, it used to be the defender, then they changed it, and all of a sudden it just...
Especially the set piece like that.
Yeah.
Moutinho, 18-year-old, played in the World Youth Championships in Finland a couple of years ago. I remember a very good Portuguese side. They've always had good youth teams. I remember going back to the one that had Figo in it, and Rui Costa. They were a terrific team, and they all went on and made good careers as well.
Never really convinced as a national side, have they?
No.
In that respect, you know,
No, not one.
I know they've had a bit like ourselves, haven't they? One or two, you know, semi-final, quarter-final, but never really been able to make that step.
Driven up there first time, and Akira with the header. And Rogerio.
Going to be some ball to beat him, isn't it, from that distance?
Kadru, all left foot. And Deriva. Riggott, who scored that priceless second goal last week. They were seemingly down and out at 3-0, and Nakahira has got right beneath the header there. We're just going to have a minute of added time. And 0-0. If you'd have said to Steve McLaren before kick-off, OK, it'd have been 0-0 at half-time, he'd have taken that.
Yeah, I mean, you just get the feeling the damage has already been done, don't you?
Damage was done in about 20 minutes at the start of the second half last week.
Whether or not they switched off, I don't know. Certainly tonight, I mean, it's never been that sort of game.
They opened up things nicely here. Zenden needs a good quality ball this time. It's out to Downing. Is there time for Borough to snatch a goal in this first half? It really would set us up for the second half if Downing's cross is effective here, and it is. And the goalkeeper, we know, is eccentric. He got one punch in. It was Parnaby furthest forward there, and the goalkeeper falls gratefully on the ball. It's a shame. Could have done with a goal there.
Well, we've just seen, I think we've probably seen the keeper summed up in one move, haven't we? Comes out, gets nowhere near it. Not, you know, what is he doing there? And then bang, great save, fantastic save, strong arm, strong wrist.
Strong into the half from Borough. Zenden, not such a good season in this competition. Scored some excellent goals.
They've had the best three opportunities, haven't they? That's the thing.
And they're coming looking for another one.
Because you don't come in, you know, admittedly they might have had more possession. You don't come in.
Jobe shot, and it's fallen on gratefully once again by Ricardo. But now they've created something.
I mean, they'll probably be a little bit surprised at the three super opportunities that they've had, you know. You'd probably come here and say, you know, if we get probably one or two, hopefully we'll take one, but they've had three gilt-edged chances, really. They haven't done that much wrong, have they, in their finishing either? It's not like they've missed the target or, you know, or they've snatched at it.
No,
it's just been decent defending that's kept them out.
Beto's the player injured, I think, back there. The referee just checks on him, but he's OK. And we are now moving into that 60 seconds of added time here. And the home supporters giving vent to their feelings. But at the moment, their team is going through to join Newcastle United and AZ Alkmaar. The Holland, who went through last night at the expense of Shakhtar Donetsk from the Ukraine.
They must have a reasonable chance, Newcastle, I'd imagine.
Well, yeah, very much does depend on the draw. But, they've scored a lot of goals in the competition. Alan Shearer, in particular, of course. Number 4 last night. Anyway, here, nobody's got a goal this evening. Not even top scorer Lee Edson. Alan Shearer's got more than him in the UEFA Cup this year. This is Deriva, the Brazilian. I was going to say too far out for a shot, but that fell on deaf ears because he had a go. That's sure he's not going to be the keeper from there.
It was too far for sure. I think what they've got to do, they've got to get it wide to Downing, haven't they? It looks like the one person that can open them up.
But it was Nemeth who had a shot cleared off the line in the first half, who was closest to a goal for Middlesbrough when Joseph Desiree Job dragged the ball away from Ricardo. This was the effort from Nemeth, and it was cleared off the line by Rui Jorge. So at half-time it is 0-0. We'll be looking forward to the comments of John and Viv Anderson and Pat Nevin in just a moment. But 0-0 here in Lisbon as we take a break.
Sky Bet. It matters more when there's money on it. 0800 975 0550.
More responsive. More agile. More refined. Funny how wishes are always granted in threes.
It's all a question of technique. Continental, tyres engineered in Germany.
For a really smooth surface on rough walls, who needs a plasterer when you can smooth over? New Smooth Over from Polycell. It only takes 2 ticks.
We see children learning and visions becoming reality. We see one patient, many experts, and developers discovering the next big thing. We see your potential. We're inspired to create software that helps you reach it.
Ugly. Oh, after this, I've got a special song, Bathhouse of Hell, for the bride's mother. There she is, coming out of the toilets. I'll give it 5 minutes if I were you. Shabba. 3, 2, 1, down! Compose yourself! Compose yourself! Off you go! Good lad! Get away!
Right now, there's 25% off all outdoor plants at B&Q. That'll put a spring in your step.
Chief Tally, you can save us.
Yeah, Tommy.
When the negotiator's family is taken too, the rules no longer apply.
I need your help!
Bruce Willis blazes back on top form. Hostage is easily as good as his die-hard masterworks.
Let him go!
Bruce Willis, Hostage.
I must have looked so silly. So silly.
I think the twins have got an edge.
She's a bully.
They're very nice to work with, calm.
Do not think them people are your friends.
You have an attitude problem.
Make Me a Supermodel gets ugly tomorrow at 10:05.
It matters more when there's money on it. Now on 5.
Well, it's 0 all over in Lisbon, and Borough are putting in a spirited performance, and I'm sure they could do with that superhero in the second half. Well, Pat, after the first 10 minutes, I suppose, when Sporting Lisbon came out, they passed the ball well, they looked quite fluent. Middlesbrough, and Job in particular, you know, took over and they were really the best team in the first half.
I actually thought it's one of the best displays I've seen from Middlesbrough, certainly away from home in Europe. They've been superb. And as you say, Job, what an effort he's put in. And he's had to put an effort in because I think he's been fairly isolated for various parts of the game. But, you know, you see he gets the ball here, you know, and he's got 3 defenders that he has to go for. And he's got that huge gap there that he's looking at and there's nobody there. But, you know, he'll hold the ball on. You know, he'll hold it up a little bit, he'll dribble a little bit, hold up and get it out wide finally.
That was a little bit, as you saw, we said at the time, if he had played the ball with a little less pace, Downing could have been an own goal. So his final pass was a little bit off there, Viv, but nevertheless, he has looked the sharpest player.
He's looked the best player tonight. I said to you at the start of the show that he's capable of doing this. It's a fine display for him, and he's been unlucky not to have scored tonight. And what he's been doing has been excellent, and it's been fantastic for him.
He seems to be a confidence player because things have started well for him. He's now, you know, trying things here. You can see him dribbling, taking people on, bringing people into play. He really plays as a
I don't think he's got an option there, but here's his problem. Here's his problem. You look at that. Look at that. That is a massive gap there. And he has to get on the end of that and control it.
And he does. And he does, which is great. And that's Steve McLaren's tactics, you know. He's playing a little bit defensive, giving himself a chance. Look at how quick they've got up to support him.
And Nemeth has gone up front.
It's a great opportunity there. And that's from back to front, very, very basic, really.
He's showing actually great energy to get there.
Yes,
so, I mean, he has to do that, and that's just good defending. I mean, you give them their...
And Pat, this was early on when himself and Nemeth were really the 2 front runners alone, whereas as the time has gone on, Middlesbrough have got more players forward to support him.
Yeah, and I think that's probably a ploy by the manager. I think the manager's decided that, you know, that he wants to do that. But he's heart and soul's in every single part of it, you know, he's living every second of it. But, no, I have to be I'm very, very impressed with him so far. Question whether he can keep it going for the whole game because it's a huge effort to do that up there on your own.
Well, as I said in the first 5-10 minutes, Sporting were getting quite close. They never really penetrated the back four, but they got quite close, and there were 1 or 2 close things in terms of possible penalty decisions or possible fouls.
In a week where we've been talking about referees, you know, it's they've got a tough job. When we see the fact the first one, that was an obvious dive there. Now,
that was a bit...
I'm not happy. If you're a forward, we know it's textbook. Get in front of your defender and wait for him to hit you.
But of course, Kudru did have his hand, as you can see, on his shoulder, and you know that if there's any touch with these players, they're going to go down.
But they went down very quickly there, didn't they?
Yeah. I was delighted with the referee. I think he realised that was what you would call professional.
And that was early on in the game, you remember. It's only in the first 5 minutes.
It was, but after that, Middlesbrough took over and they created arguably the best chances.
Yeah, that's right. Their tactics were been excellent tonight, because I thought he might play very defensive and just see if he can hit him on the counter-attack. But they've played very well this first half.
The chances is the big thing. And you think about it, at the end of the last game, we thought this could be a hammering. But there's not really been that many chances. This is a specific one.
And it's really, here it's a mistake by Middlesbrough, which presented Bayana with a chance.
Yeah, Zenden gives the ball away, and the boy comes in. And luckily, it's straight at Mark Swartz, and he deals with it very well.
But they haven't really got through them. They're going to shoot from maybe 20-25 yards.
Yeah.
I think before the game, if Steve McLaren's saying... I mean, he said in the interview before the game, we've got to keep this tight. That's the imperative, more than anything else, we've got to keep this tight. And I think they have done. They've done it fairly tight.
This is a great chance. Great little leap from Joseph Job there, but I think the linesman gave him offside. But he's a threat again.
And of course, this is what we expect from Stuart Downing. A great delivery. Question mark to the keeper once again, but he recovers with a good save.
Yeah, it's a good save. You see, we talked about Nemeth and Job. Them two have had both strikes on goal. So they've played really well as a pair tonight.
I'm not putting my mortgage on it, but I might take a fiver now.
Well, a bit of optimism for the second half. Well, I hope you're all enjoying St. Patrick's Day today. A week on Saturday, you'll also be able to enjoy Ireland's World Cup qualifier against Israel over in Tel Aviv at 5:45 here on 5. Well, let's see if Middlesbrough have the luck of the Irish in the second half. We'll see you after the break.
Sky Bet. It matters more when there's money on it. 0800 975 0550.
Slow, baby.
Brewed slightly stronger for a smoother taste. Carlsberg Export. So good, the Danes hate to see it leave.
Even close up, hair color should look natural. That's why Just for Men with X-Gray Science targets only the grey hair, replacing it with subtle tones that match your own color. In 5 easy minutes, hair looks natural, no matter how close up she gets. Just for Men, the Rejuvenator.
It's about how you score, not how many. FIFA Street. EA Sports.
More pepper. 19 days a year on regular army pay. Interested? Go to ta.mod.uk for your free TA guide.
The powerful performance of Dactar in dual-action spray powder beats athlete's foot and helps prevent it coming back.
Which one of these garden sets costs under £100? Actually, it's all 3. Because there's 25% off all garden furniture. And should you find the same sets for less, we'll match the price. And even refund you 10% of the difference. That's our price promise. Homebase. Make a house a home.
Hello.
Yo.
Where are you?
I'm in London. Where are you?
We're in Paris. Thought you were in Tokyo.
Thought you were in Boston.
Change of plans. What's up?
Change of plans. We need to reroute the shipment.
New terms?
New terms, new specs, new schedules.
Show me.
There you go.
Change of plans. Okay, will do. See you in New York.
Change of plans. See you in LA.
Au revoir.
Sayonara.
So what's up? The usual.
When change is part of the plan, that's on-demand business from IBM.
No one likes nasty surprises when it comes to the cost of central heating repairs. That's why all our gas or electricity customers can call us to repair a fault with their boiler for a fixed call-out and labour charge. And you can only get that with British Gas. British Gas, doing the right thing.
Practical and exciting. Don't see that very often. Skoda Fabia VRS.
What are you expecting? World War III.
My people got some business with you. And if you want your kid back, then you gotta cooperate. Right?
Wrong.
Real men do it commando style. 9 o'clock Sunday on 5.
Skybet. It matters more when there's money on it. Now on 5.
Well, it's 0-0 over in Lisbon, but Borough are getting ever closer. Well, competition time now, and your last chance to win £5,000.
To win £5,000, simply answer this question. What nationality is Middlesbrough striker Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank? A. Dutch, B. Portuguese, or C. German? To enter, call 090 15339911 or text the word football, followed by A, B or C to 81555. We'll announce the winner at the end of tonight's match. If you're a digital satellite viewer, you may also enter by pressing the red button, or alternatively, just explore the other features available in our interactive service.
Well, the second half coming up shortly, so let's get back over to our commentators, Steve Claridge and John Helm. And John, we've got an interactive message for you. And it says, it's from Matthew and Keithley, and he said, would Newcastle and Middlesbrough be kept apart in the draw for the next round, if they both go through? Well, sorry, if Middlesbrough go through.
If they both go through, it's a nice, easy one, actually, John. The answer is no, they wouldn't be kept apart. Could you imagine Middlesbrough versus Newcastle United in the last 8 of the UEFA Cup? There could be a couple of Spanish teams in there, of course, as well. Seville could play Villarreal. So, no, they won't be kept apart. And who knows? Who knows what's going to happen in the second half here. Middlesbrough are already out, by the way. We're looking at Ugo, who got a slight injury in the first half and went off to be replaced by Douala. The Middlesbrough fans are in good heart, and their team are out already on the pitch, and there are not going to be any Middlesbrough substitutions. So let's assume that Steve McLaren's reasonably happy, Steve, with the way it's gone.
Yeah, I don't really see the need to change anything, do you? I mean, it's as important they get a goal early in this half as it is in the first half, and you know, it's still very much a game on if they can do that.
Just thinking back to that question, by the way, there have been numerous instances of clubs from the same country playing one another. Indeed, last season a couple of Spanish sides met in the semi-finals. It's just impossible these days to keep them apart at this stage of the competition. But like you, I queried the format this year. Very strange, where they played teams only once, and some home, some away.
And then knowing who you're going to play if you get through one round, it's like a little bit like snooker tournament. I thought it's ridiculous, because it takes, you know, it's great to wait for a draw and to see who you're playing. I mean, that's half the excitement of it.
The draw, by the way, is tomorrow, made in Switzerland, along with the Champions League draw, in which, of course, England will have interest in two clubs, Chelsea and Liverpool.
It almost backs up the point that it's Champions League or nothing, doesn't it? You know, everything seems to play a massive second fiddle to the Champions League now.
Well, still a big prize to be earned, of course, in this UEFA Cup, with the final here in Lisbon on May the 18th, and hopefully we'll follow it all the way on 5. So our French referee, Monsieur Poulin, gets the second half underway. Simple task for Middlesbrough. A couple of goals, please. I think one of his problems, and he knows that, and he'd recognise it with Steve McLaren, is the bench. I mean, apart from the 38, it's Nemeth, he's offside.
Let's have a little look at that one.
Yeah,
he looked offside as he received it, but I can't imagine there being a great deal in that.
That was the lady on the touchline, Nelly Viano.
Possibly. Just maybe.
Oh, just is enough.
Still a bit square though, aren't they?
Yeah.
Just the one ball over the top there.
Duala. There he goes. He's kept in check. OK, let's hear from the Middlesbrough manager, Steve McLaren. He's with Dave Becker.
Steve, how encouraged are you by the first half?
Yeah, we needed to get to half-time with a clean sheet. 0-0 was good enough. And we had two of the best chances of the half. We'd have liked a 1-0, but 0-0 gives us a chance for the second half.
Everything's crossed for you?
Absolutely. We need to take one chance, and then you never know. Thanks a lot.
He looks cheerful and very relaxed. Why
I think
not?
well, it's been a good night's work so far, hasn't it? I mean, I think he's got his tactics and his formation spot on. And they've actually come into this game, you can see, with a game plan, haven't they? And so far they've carried it out perfectly. Apart from the goal.
But there's 44 minutes left in which to get one. And Middlesbrough, by the way, a couple of clubs in the Premiership have scored more league goals than them all season. I think you might guess which two they are. Liedson, who's got 21 goals this season, including a hat-trick in one of the previous rounds against Dinamo Tbilisi.
I bet it wasn't over there.
No.
I didn't think so somehow.
No substitutions by either manager during the interval, so we are not quite as we started, because of course Hugo went off to be replaced by Duala midway through that first half. Middlesbrough have an attack going here, and Job is coming in behind the last line of defence. Oh, it just gets through to Ricardo from the defender's header.
I'm not sure the defender's seen Job there. You know, it's certainly not the pace of the ball he's played back. I'm almost positive that he hasn't seen him. He just guessed. It's just about anticipating where he's going to head it. Job goes to read it one way and he heads it the other.
Beto, seasoned international, came on last week in the Riverside late on, with 31 caps for Portugal.
He's going to be the most physical left winger, Zenden, I think I've ever seen.
You suggesting things there? Yeah, he's given away a lot of free kicks tonight, hasn't he, Bolo Zenden, who said, by the way, may leave Middlesbrough at the end of the season because of his international career. He doesn't think that he's being followed by the Dutch international manager because he's playing in the Riverside. Seems a strange one. Hasn't stopped other people appearing for their countries.
Does he want to go back home, or...? It's a big enough stage, isn't it?
Herrera.
Where would he want to play for his national? His country?
Probably in Amsterdam, I would thought.
No, what position?
Oh, what position does he want to play?
Because he's primarily a left winger, wasn't he? And then they've chucked him inside. And I mean, he's scored a few goals. He's obviously adapted very well. Just wonder where he expected to play for Holland.
The chase is on for Douala. Twisting and turning and running and thinking of a shot and getting it in. He's onside here, is he? No, he's offside. Just for a moment, Edson appeared to be in. Middlesbrough have a right to be thankful to the referee's assistant on this one. He was a mile.
Doesn't actually take the opportunity either, does he?
Schwarzer wasn't about to let him think about it. Downing for Middlesbrough, into Joe. Lads in the studio extolling the virtues of Joseph Desiree Jobe at half-time. This one's over the top for Downing to chase. He's not going to get to it.
The thing is, what they can take heart from is, the quality of the ball hasn't quite been there, but the opportunities to get in are. You know, I mean, that's the second time. That's a fantastic chance to put Downing in. There's just too much weight on the ball. But the opportunities are still there.
I think as Pat Nevin said, it's the best away performance. All right, they won by a goal to nil in Igallio in Greece, but Igallio not one of the favoured teams over there, shall we say. They were well beaten in Spain by Villarreal, and they got a draw in Graz.
There's certainly more. I mean, I went to Graz.
Give away here! What a chance this is! Pull it across, and it must be. What a miss! Can you believe that? The ball is stabbed wide by Jobe. Nemeth having played him in. That should have been Middlesbrough in the lead, and that would have given us a game.
I think we've got to see the weight of the pass again. I'm not. Let's just see the weight of the ball here from Nemeth. It's the right idea. It's past him.
Is it full stretch?
I'm not quite sure. It might just have a little bit too much on it.
Yeah,
but it's still, I mean, fantastic chance.
Oh, what a miss!
I mean, they'll look back, and they will say, hey, we've had enough opportunities to.
You know, Steve, it was just a reminder of the way it was last week with Sporting. They became very lackadaisical, and again here now, and Jobe's got another chance, has he? No, he's touched it. He's offside this time. But last week they became arrogant when they were 3 goals up.
Well, they're 2 goals in effect. They're 2-0 up tonight, aren't they? So, it's a difficult situation because subconsciously you're going into it. You're 2-0 up. You're just going to do enough. You're not going to do any more. You're not going to, you're not going to break your back to win this game 2 or 3 simply because you've got that cushion. You've got that advantage.
I know what you mean. Let's put it right. They're actually a goal up on the aggregate, 3-2. But of course, it's the away goals that count, don't. So they've got the 2 away goals. Middlesbrough haven't got 1 as yet. Here goes Barbosa, held in check by Kadru. But Joseph Desiree Jobe, I know what you're saying as a striker yourself as well. There was that much pace on it, and he had to stretch to get to it.
And the defender coming in as well. Yeah, I mean that's probably with Nemeth looked up, and the defender wasn't that far away from Jobe, but just the pace of the ball possibly.
Straight out from the back heel.
That's the eccentricities of the goalkeeper again, isn't it?
Well, absolutely. He gives you a chance every time, this fellow Ricardo. If you remember, he wasn't the greatest in the European Championships. He's remembered because, of course, he scored a penalty and he saved one from Darius Vassell. He wasn't a great goalkeeper. Kadru forward. Doesn't get to Jobe, but it's all the way back to Schwarzer. And there isn't a green and white shirt within 50 yards of him.
I think they might actually be saying, well, look, let's get the ball forward maybe a little bit earlier. You know, we'll play in their half.
Kadru. Joe mustn't let that miss worry him, Joseph Desiree Jobe.
I don't think he will. I think he's played well enough tonight that you know, he really is enjoying the game. It's amazing when you get something like that happens and then it turns football. You know, and I'd be surprised if he gets one tonight.
That's just a good solid tackle to win the ball and to release Douala. Away he goes. He'll certainly have the opportunity to pull another one across here. Well, he went for the shot. It's Barbosa who got the first goal last week and is thwarted from an attempt to get the first this week by the Schwarzer save.
Just a little point there. I mean, it's a good save. I mean, it's an easy save, to be fair. Great defending by Chris Riggott previously to that. I mean, he's got a real run on him. And to be fair, he stood up. He said, right, go on then. If you've got that sort of pace, you come and beat me. And he's blocked the tackle, blocked the shot fantastically.
Still 0-0. Still 3-2 overall to the Portuguese side, the 18 times league champions. They've none of us ever forget that this is Middlesbrough's first ever European campaign, so they've done wonderfully well, really, to get this far in the competition. They've seen off the likes of Banik Ostrava, Igalo, Lazio, Villarreal, of course, were the one side to have beaten them. Partizan Belgrade and
Top the league, though, didn't they? They top their league? Villarreal top the league.
No, they're not top the league, but they're a very good European side.
No. You know the qualifying league.
Oh, the qualifying league, yeah.
I think they might have topped that, didn't they, Middlesbrough?
Well, they don't concede any goals, Villarreal. They've only conceded 2 in 13 home games. Yeah. Here they come now, though, Sporting. It's all broken up, and Zenden will shuffle and try and get away from Moutinho. No foul there. The ball breaks for Barbosa.
When you're playing games like this, at times you see it and they have to take a breather and they have to take a break because they've worked so hard. You just cannot keep that sort of tempo up for 90 minutes. I think that's what they've done well. They started very well. They had a mid-section where they had to just make sure they were tight and not give anything away, and then they finished the half extremely well. And that's ideally what Steve McLaren will have said.
You can, of course, have too much of the ball sometimes as well and run out of ideas. Now then, here comes Sporting with a chance to create an opening for a shot, which was not taken.
He just needs to get a second win there, Zenden. Once or twice, legs just gave way on him. And like I say, maybe just needs to breathe there for 5 minutes.
Rogério. A great career in Brazil with Corinthians and Palmeiras. OK, well, Dave Beckett's down on the touchline. What news, Dave?
Just one to watch, John, really. Still Nemeth has been holding his back for a couple of minutes or so. It looks like he's moving freely now, but he is one to just keep an eye on, as if they need any more injury problems.
Yeah, we will do. Thank you very much, Dave.
It's strange, actually, because you get games like this where goals change the complexion of the game with regard to people think, well, we played well, we won the game 1-0. I mean, they on a performance basis alone, they couldn't have possibly imagined they could have played this well tonight. And really, I mean, take the, all right, been able to get that all-important goal, but it's been a fantastic show.
Ball in there is well dealt with again at the back. Steve McLaren was saying it is probably the biggest test they've ever had, certainly in his managerial career at the Riverside. And once again, they started to frustrate the Portuguese fans, which is a very good sign.
It's strange though as well. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, what do they want? They've just got to go through. You know,
yeah, but home fans want to see goals, don't they? Especially when they've won an away match.
You push forward at what cost?
Another poor
they haven't played well, have they?
A bit more whistling. No, they haven't played well.
You know, whatever you say, they haven't played well in this game, and I think that's been a lot down to, absolutely down to the work rate of the Middlesbrough players. They haven't. If you come to places like this, if you're going to get a result, if you get beaten, you say, well, fair enough. If it's a great bit of play, you hold your head up and say, hey, they were just great. They were better than us. But you've got to make them work for everything they get, and I think that really is what Middlesbrough have done tonight. They've given them absolutely nothing. Nothing at all has been easy for Sporting tonight.
I suspect the Sporting might be one of those teams who play better away from home because they've got the pace of Douala, they've got the craft of the other front runner, Lienza. Here he's Downing for Berra. Oh, dearie me, Nemeth was there waiting and it just didn't go to a Middlesbrough man. There was a support from Parnaby as well. But it's the break on here now with Barbosa, who's clever at finding spaces and he's clever at shrugging away opponents as well as he did do there. The run here is menacing. This is problem. Just broken fortuitously there, but that was a dangerous run into the penalty area from Rogério.
They've stood up and been strong. I mean, you've got, as he's made that run, you can see there's 5 Middlesbrough defenders. You know, if he beats one, he's got to get past another one, and they've never really looked in any serious danger from moves like that. Just unfortunate Downing can't pick Parnaby out, isn't it?
Well, the scenario is the same as it was at the start, Steve. Middlesbrough can't afford to go a goal down. They have far too much to do. Turned back by Rogério, swung in by Viana, away as far as Job, who's got to hold it up for Berra here, and he's done that successfully. Loses it second attempt, but it's stymied the move. Now they do have it out on that far side with Barbosa. He's not a galloper, but he's got the ball in, and a good clearing header from Riggott. Time on Borough's side to get it up to Job at halfway. No great fluency about the match, and that's to Borough's credit. They've been the ones trying to disrupt it, and that's a free kick, surely. And the referee, I think, is going to produce a yellow card here, is he?
No, I can't believe that. Not for that. I mean, there's been plenty of tackles like that, hasn't there?
Well, he hasn't. He thought about it, didn't he? He's been good. We've liked the referee tonight so far.
It's just a shame that Borough weren't able to, make it a scrappy game at home, wouldn't it? I mean, we were saying at half-time, it's not a massive result if you don't win that home leg. I've played in 3 semi-finals. Each time we played at home in the first leg, drawn 0-0 and managed to get through. And sometimes you might take a lead. We're going to Sporting Lisbon. We've got to take a lead. But you go there, you don't concede that home goal, and then you come in and you put on a performance like this. And all of a sudden, you imagine the pressure that Sporting would be under. I mean, they've got a lead here. They don't have to win this game. They're still getting stick.
Yep, very much so. The difference is, of course, this is the second leg, and a 0-0 will do in the second leg for Sporting Lisbon. Going to have to take them into the last 8, and maybe we'll see them again play Newcastle United. Who knows?
Fancy Newcastle
to go all the way.
Fancy them to beat them this night.
Okay.
Certainly the evidence of.
I'll remind you of that if it happens. Moutinho. A holding role in midfield from him. Not sure where to go, are they, as a result of which they're coming all the way back towards halfway. A lot of red shirts around. They have defended well. Ruggiero started to make inroads with 1 or 2 good runs. Now it is Lee Edson. It's back in towards Ruggiero and take it out.
I mean, that's another poor cross in the by Lee Edson. The 1 or 2 times where they have got in good positions, they've shown no real quality there. And that ball's got to go in between the defenders and the goalkeeper, and then nobody quite knows what to do with it.
Well spotted by Kadru, nonetheless. Violet will take the corner. Bobby Robson rated him highly when he was at Newcastle. What's Schwarzer ball? Well, Schwarzer still has to do some work here, and he's not got the ball, worryingly. There's a whistle. I thought that inevitably there had to be a whistle, much as the home fans don't like it. The goalkeepers are protected.
Got out of jail a little bit there. Oh, no, he's right. That's why he's a ref, and I'm not. It's a good decision.
There speaks Steve Claridge, who, if he'd have been the striker in that situation, might have complained.
Absolutely.
Who have you got this weekend?
We're away. One of my old clubs, actually, Cambridge.
One of your old?
Well,
just the 13th.
I knew I made a mistake when I said that. Every other week, I think. I actually said that like it was it didn't happen very often.
No, you did actually.
I didn't quite know what I was thinking of.
Our reporter Dave Beckett's associated with one of your old clubs, Brighton and Hove Albion.
Yeah.
I think he's thinking of an Adam Virgo tattoo at the moment, but there you go. Steve Claridge with us, who's at Wycombe Wanderers these days, in case you're wondering. The ball is popped through here. Sapinto. Oh, well dispossessed. Middlesbrough working, there's nothing wrong with the work ethic. Absolutely not.
Well, it's been fantastic. Just like to see him, if they can, just get it to Downing once or twice, and let him have a run at, because he really has caused them all sorts of problems.
Barbosa. It's a swinging ball that shouldn't be a difficulty for Schwarzer. It isn't, and a good first-time throw as well to release Downing, who stays in this wide position and tries to outrun the fella coming across towards him. Done well. Now can he bring a cross in as well? Well, it didn't get to Job, but it will get to Parnaby, and Borough have 3 in the penalty area. Good cross in here. Wasn't quite good enough, or at least it didn't pick anybody out in the red of Middlesbrough.
Just wanted Downing really, just to shut the back door, didn't they? Just to come in and try and close that ball down if it beats everybody. But he's worked so hard. As I say, it will have an adverse effect sometimes. He just looked like he'd run out of energy there. Pace. He's quick. I didn't realise how quick he was down there.
Yeah, he's quick. I mean, the fella had no chance of getting near him.
With the ball as well.
Yeah. No, he's quick. Sven-Göran Eriksson this week has said how much he likes Downing. He'll probably feature in the next England squad.
Right back.
England playing Northern Ireland. Right back. You said that, not me.
Please play him, referee.
Letters to Sven-Göran Eriksson and Steve Claridge, please, not to John Henry. Here they come, Barbosa. Barbosa and Ruiz slowing it down. They're quite happy to play like this at Sporting.
It's one of them, you get booed during the game, then they'll give you a clap afterwards because you've done your job. But if you were looking at it, you would, certainly on the evidence of tonight, you would say that they're not going to be good enough to certainly win this competition.
Pinto. It's a clever little ball in. Liedson goes for goal, too high, but it's one of the few chances that have been created by Sporting Lisbon. Created for Liedson, he couldn't take it.
I think that's why they put Sao Pinto in that deep role, because he's just got that little bit of vision to open you up. You know, everybody's looking the other way. They think he's going to go down the outside, and all of a sudden he just twists and turns and plays that ball into Liedson. It's just a little bit of quality that, to be fair, they've lacked tonight.
They have to keep the faith, keep the hope, score a goal, give us a grandstand finish.
It's just one of those lulls, isn't it, really, for Borough? It's one of, like I said, you just have to get a second win, really.
The assistant coach is making his notes there. That was Pedro Caixinho, the assistant coach of Sporting Lisbon, jotting down a few things for his boss. I don't think he was doing the crossword. No. Barbosa is a tall, elegant player. He looks an international quality player. That's with great pace, perhaps. Like this chip. I've not seen him go yet. Here he does go now, and the ball in. Wasn't the worst, but well dealt with. Downing skips inside a challenge successfully.
Haven't got near Downing all night.
Playing in an unfamiliar position there. It's swept long. Dealt with by Ruggiero. There's a slip which might just let send it in. They got fortunate there.
Deriva chose the wrong option now. I mean, he's got men over down the outside of him, just giving Nemeth the ball. A tough ball that to hit it over the centre half from 40 yards.
Pace here from Liedson. Tries to pull it back in. That's the clear ploy, to pull that ball back in towards those two who are coming into the penalty area.
The difference is, well, I mean, the manager must have said, you can't keep putting balls in from 30 and 40 yards and expect them to win it. I mean, Liedson is very, very lightweight. What you've got to do is get to the byline and start pulling balls back, and that's when you cause, defenders like Southgate and Rigger a few problems.
Well, it's got according to script so far for Middlesbrough. And I know one scenario that Steve McLaren was plotting was to, if they could keep it to 0-0, then bring Danny Graham on as an extra attacker late on. And well, it's not even late on now. Graham's about to come on. But Sporting have this attack going.
Doesn't always work like that, though, does it?
Barbosa will go for goal, will he? Well, no, he checked. Finds Douala instead. This is danger. Well, that might have been points at Twickenham, but it's nothing here in Lisbon.
Absolutely. And sometimes if you do that, you sacrifice a bit of shape, a bit of balance, and a bit of defensive frailty arises from it. I mean, he's got to do it. It's a lull in the game. They don't look like they're going to get the 2 goals that they need, so he's got to change something.
Danny Graham, a 19-year-old, about to come on as we see again the effort which flew way over the top from Moutinho. He doesn't look a natural goal scorer.
No, certainly not in that evidence.
Off comes McMahon. On comes another teenager in Danny Graham, who was playing for Chester, but not the Chester it's in the Football League, the Chester district, I presume it is, up near Middlesbrough.
They've a good back in
window fitter. Yeah, they've had a
really good vocal back in Middlesbrough.
The crowd, by the way, I can tell you officially, is 21,217, so it's not even half full, but you wouldn't know.
No, there's as you say, I mean, there's right, travelled over.
Well, it's their first excursion into Europe, so why not? There is the flag of Sporting Portugal, Sporting Lisbon, just Sporting. Call them what you will. I've had a few English coaches. Malcolm Allison coached here. He did the double with them. And also Keith Birkinshaw, the former Tottenham Hotspur coach, he was here. And with Jimmy Hagan having a spell in Portugal as well, going even further back. My era, not yours, Steve.
Going out of range here.
Yeah. I won't mention W.G. Grace. Stanley Matthews. Over to the right they go with Parnaby. He'll drop back now. Parnaby's ball in is excellent. Joe took it in his stride. He was in a great position there, and he still is, and it's squared across here. It doesn't get to Downing initially. It does now. He's taken it around the defender, pulled it across. And they had a chance again then, Borough. That will bring some hope to Steve McLaren.
Not really gone for him, has it? You know, didn't quite get across to Downing there. And look at the pace here, it just leaves the defender for dead. And it's good defending. Good defending.
McMahon's got an injury to the left knee, we understand, and it's going to be throw-in from Zenden. Borough now would make life, Borough goal will make life very interesting. But Vajana's got the chance to clear it to Douala. Maybe try and get beyond Parnaby. He doesn't even get inside him, and Parnaby's touch. Well, they're at full stretch here, though. Again, a reminder, football night tonight with John at midnight. Review of the week's UEFA Cup action, of which there's been a great deal. There's a feature on the Canaries, Norwich City, and we'll be looking into the Merseyside derby with Graham Sharp, former Everton striker. And then coming up on 5 on Easter Saturday, that's March the 26th, the World Cup qualifier in Israel. Israel against the Republic of Ireland, Brian Kerr's side there. The likes of Roy and Robbie Keane. And that's live on 5, and the time is 5:35. Here it's 0-0, which means Sporting are 3-2 up still on aggregate.
How long we got
last
left?
week at the Riverside? 20 minutes or so, I think.
It's plenty of time.
Plenty of time.
It's almost mirrored the first half, hasn't it?
Yeah, very much so. There's the drummer, and there's always one. It's like a stadium dog. I saw a stadium dog today. There's always a dog wandering around in the stadium over here.
I think what we will see now is probably Middlesbrough will possibly lengthen the game now, because they've got 3 players up there. I think they want to get it forward, you know, maybe back to basics, so to speak. You know, get it forward a little bit earlier and try and get people around the ball.
Kadru, who's got his share of goals this season. Job needs to thread this one through somehow. There are plenty of red shirts in here, just looking for a break. Job is tall enough. Gets a touch on the ball, but he also got a hand on the shoulder of the opponent, I think. The referee thought so.
He actually did well there, because the two Borough lads had strayed offside and he's kept it. I just think they've gone a little fraction early for Job there. I'm not sure that was a free kick. I think he's got every right to go and have it, to head that.
Well, Borough have scored 16 times in the European matches this season. Currently, of course, 8th in the Premiership. Sporting here 5th in their league. But they've lost their last 2 league games. They were top at the turn of the year, so things are not going their way in recent weeks. So they'll just be gnawing away at the mind that they've still got to see this one through.
Well, like I say, it just puts more importance, doesn't it, on this competition for them. It's strange, actually, Verdi, when you, a lot of times, you know, teams that have cup runs that surprise people don't do great in the league. I don't know why it is.
Here's the gap that keeps appearing. It's Ruggerio's trying to exploit that gap. He's threaded it through instead to Douala. Goes for the shot, and it's straight against the shins of the defender, who is Parnaby.
Extra man over there.
Yeah, Rui Georges on the ball. Well, clever running from Douala. This might be a problem if he pulls this one back. The 2 in the hoop shirts of the Lions waiting. The crowd are getting a bit more vociferous, perhaps sensing that there could be a goal on the cards here. But good defending from Gareth Southgate. And he's played a decent ball up here to Graham as well, the 19-year-old, the former window fitter. They used to say about you, the former barrow boy, didn't they? The man who had the fruit and veg stall.
You've got an awfully good very, very good memory.
Well, thank you. Douala, what's your name again? Douala's ball in. He's cleared by Kadri. He's been around a long time, Steve.
What, me or you?
Both. Well played. Not the greatest ball from Downing this time.
Tired ball.
Yeah, beginning to stretch a little.
Yeah.
Ruiz-Juch. Sporting sensing that they're almost there, and if they could get a goal now, that would kill it off. But they're not there yet.
They'll be kicking themselves, Middlesbrough, for last week. They'll be kicking themselves for this one.
I was going to say, they're also
when you look at it.
That miss by Job when he... Oh, they were 2-on-1, weren't they? They should have scored in the opening minutes of this half. Good refereeing again. There was no foul there on Lee Edson. The referee was not to be fooled. So Joseph Desiree Job, he has worked ever so hard tonight. It's one of the best performances I've seen from Job.
He's done fantastic well. Rigger has also really, really surprised me. He's put a fantastic performance tonight, Rigger.
Downing's
best
cross.
defensive display I've seen.
Met by better. It's in here, and Graham's onside. Oh, he had a chance of glory, the teenager. No, the flag was raised.
Just got to hit it across, haven't you?
Yeah. It's a big ask of a 19-year-old who's barely played any league football.
I always go back to when I was 19. You know what I mean? You look at it and you think, oh, what was I like then? There's no way that I'd have, been able to cope with a situation like this at 19.
If I go back that far, it's when Mafeking was relieved. Here's Barbosa. That's a giveaway. All over the top. We'll see Downing putting a bit of pressure on here, as a result of which it's played straight out by Nakarahira.
We get a long throw here by the looks of it. Steve McLaren saying to the two centre-halves, get forward. I'm not quite sure they've got the legs to do that.
Well, Gareth especially. But no, he's up there. Zenden's with the throw down. Chance for Middlesbrough just to score this one elusive goal. All depends where it drops there, doesn't it? When it does drop, it's picked up.
Not a great fan of the long throw, I've got to say.
No. It's all right if you're Andy Legg, isn't it? You can hurl them in from 50 yards.
I'd like to see the percentages of goals scored and goals where you take a short throw and put the ball in the box. Goals scored. I'm sure there'd be too much between them.
Oh, Steve McLaren's going to lose his voice at this rate. Hasn't he done well though as Middlesbrough manager? Took over from Brian Robson and he's steered Middlesbrough into Europe and consistently now into the higher reaches of the Premiership. He says he wouldn't mind managing England one day. Danger this time, it's just dropped out at the edge of the area. Sapinto, cross ball doesn't reach Barbosa, chance of a Middlesbrough break. They steady the ship first of all. Downing slows it down and then Kadru is asked to do something constructive. They move forward gradually through the Brazilian Doriva. Doriva's longer ball. It's going to be an unavailing chase, this one. Well, you never know with Ricardo, he could do anything here.
Well, he's tried, hasn't he?
He certainly has.
He tried to make a game of it.
Well, he certainly let Middlesbrough back in a week ago. That drop of the ball which allowed Chris Riggott to get the second. Nothing he could do about Job's goal. Now they're three up here around the edge of that Berra area. Barbosa curled a glorious shot past Schwarzer last week. Doesn't curl this one.
Great defender.
Well, he's been really good, hasn't he, in defence again, Kadru?
Very much so. Just, as you say, it just looks like he gets better and better every time you see him.
I made him man of the match against, I think it was the Austrian side. And they played Graz. Swinging cross in. Plenty of red shirts around again.
There's not many who haven't done their job tonight, has there?
They've done exceptionally well. There's sort of the closing downside, a frustrating side, frustrate the opposition. They've done that exceptionally well. They've just not... Well, they have created 2 or 3 openings, and if they'd have just taken one of them, we really would have had a game. We still have. We've still got a go. But they do need a goal, and they mustn't concede one. And Schwarzer makes the save of the night. Had to make it with Lee Edson no more than 4 yards away.
Yeah, not sure that came off Southgate or Lee Edson there. It's one of those difficult ones where he's got in behind, he's got goal side. Probably might have even come off Southgate there. Lee Edson might have just caught the back of his foot.
What was unmistakable was he had to make the save.
Yep.
And he did it, Mark Schwarzer, former Kaiserslautern and Bradford City goalkeeper. Will he be called upon here to make a save? No, because the ball is beyond the sporting man and into the path of Nemeth.
dominated as the ball come in the box, haven't they? Middlesbrough, absolutely dominated.
Well, Riggett and Southgate have been excellent.
Fantastic.
Drew as well.
Yeah.
Well, now this is a big moment for a young man. Adam Johnson, who is 18 years of age, a star of the Youth Cup winning side at Borough, gets a pat on the back from his boss here. This, a debut. What a place to make your debut, in the José Alvalade Stadium in Lisbon.
A bit different to mine.
And here he is, left-sided player. So we've got two now with Downing and Johnson. Let's see what he can do. Well, he's not short on nerve. Runs at the opposition. Doesn't get the cross though beyond Barbosa, who's almost twice his age. Zenden, it's a bit close. They've worked it away nicely between them, Riggett and Southgate. There are plenty of people forward, a lot of red shirts inside the other half of the field here, and this is Johnson, and it's a useful cross in. One of those that Nakirera had to deal with, and McLaren's down on that touchline, pointing the way forward, telling Riggett to get up there, telling Southgate he knows that a goal now would really give them the collywobbles here. Kadru's cross is a good-looking one. The goalkeeper does grasp it this time.
Certain irony in the cheers from the crowd.
Yeah. Duala hasn't got beyond Barnaby yet. Decides in the end to reverse the ball. George lifts it in now to Viana. Viana's through ball to Liedson. It was just a bit hard and he had to struggle to control it. Liedson is not allowed a shot on goal because of Southgate. It continues to be excellent. Barbosa. Duala mustn't get beyond Barnaby. And here he goes. He is past him with some ease. It's good attacking play and good defending as well. But that's the pace.
Yeah, absolutely. Tap me to say that, Tom. Yeah, I mean it's the same thing again. They've got him behind the Middlesbrough defence, but they haven't made enough of the opportunities. Both teams have defended the near post very well. Anything that's gone in there, the defence have made sure they've cleared the ball away. They haven't let anything go through.
Sporting's corner, they still lead by one on aggregate, but that one won't get beyond Schwarzer. He's got a big pair of hands.
He certainly has. He just looks like an absolute giant down there.
They get bigger, don't they?
It helps.
Well, your film on 5, very appropriate, I reckon, bearing in mind that Middlesbrough got Southampton coming up. It's the Clint Eastwood classic Dirty Harry. Only joking, Harry.
Yes, that was from John Helm.
Lovely bloke, Harry Redknapp. Saw him last week down in London, by the way. He was devastated to have missed that Chelsea-Barcelona game, but he was watching a Portsmouth, or a Southampton reserve game, a junior game, I believe. And, anyway, I'm sure it was a good one.
I'm not sure it was a Portsmouth reserve game he was watching.
No, it was a Freudian slip. The coach here, well, the two coaches here, one shouting, one pointing. Don't forget Dirty Harry, the big film on 5 coming up. Free kick for Schwarzer to take here for Middlesbrough. Sporting will feel that they've got 1 foot in the last 8, but they've some defending to do here with Zenden up for the ball. It's hacked away very safely by Sapinto. It'll come again with Downing, who's moved in field since Johnson's arrival on the touchline. Here he is now. Johnson, one of the many teenagers.
You say Middlesbrough play Southampton at the weekend?
They do.
I think Harry will be more than delighted with the
Riverside. Sunday it is.
You know, the effort that they've put in, Middlesbrough.
Duala's off.
And we went to Newcastle last week. And I mean, to be fair to them, they beat Olympiacos and they beat them almost at a canter. And I'm sure that had some effect on the Sunday game against Spurs, because when you come back from something like this, they have worked incredibly hard.
72 hours less isn't long, is it?
No, not after you've put in a performance like this.
That's a good win of the ball. by Johnson. It enables Kadru to just tickle it back to him, and no, he didn't keep it in.
They're playing well, Southampton, aren't they?
Southampton, yeah, they've had a couple of very good results recently,
last 4 or 5
especially at home.
Have been,
they're actually unbeaten at home for about
very good.
4 or 5 months, aren't they? Edson, they all flicks and plenty of skill, but not enough to keep it in play. They still applaud him. He's very popular here, as you would be if you got 21 goals.
Yeah, I'm sure that affords him a couple of mistakes, doesn't it?
You won't get another 19 to get, haven't you? You'll be up there.
It depends which club you're talking about.
I'm thinking this season. So. Well, yeah, we've probably got 1 or 2 I didn't know about.
We've got 4 for Wickham.
4, is it? Not many appearances.
Yeah, I think it's 8.
1 every 2 games will do you.
Yeah,
that speaks a man with 200 in his career. Sporting Lisbon then drawing here 0-0 with Middlesbrough, and Middlesbrough's European adventure looks like it might be coming to an end, but we said that last week when they were 3-0 down. But this is a tough ask of them. The ball clipped off Edson and went back to Douala, and all he could do was stab it through to Schwarzer. He'll clear it up over halfway, long over halfway. There's a 3-man chase on for it.
Game's got stretched, doesn't it? It's gotten, as I said, the game's got longer now simply because they've got the 3 boys up front. But you really, they needed that goal. They needed that impetus.
They mustn't concede here now. Viana, well, he was lucky to get away with that. Did get a little bit stretched. They've got to try and find a goal somewhere, somehow. But we've had great fun with Middlesbrough on 5 this season. We were with them at the beginning of the campaign, and we saw them defeat Banik Ostrava by 3-0 up at the Riverside. In fact, they'd never conceded a goal in all those games against Lazio and Partizan Belgrade.
Weren't Lazio just the poorest side you've ever seen?
You could not believe it was Lazio, Steve, honestly.
Unbelievable. I've never seen a team like that at this level. It was just beggared belief.
The free kick is here to Sporting. No, I'm afraid they've fallen on hard times, the side from Rome. This was Johnson. Little push there in the back on Rui Jorge. Still, he's going to look back on this night. Steve McLaren, they're giving him his chance to feature in the spotlight. 18-year-old Adam Johnson. A great youth policy, and it's bearing fruition now. But the fans here are rather content. They know it's 0-0. They'll like to have seen a goal or 2 from their side. It hasn't turned out that way, not yet anyway. Free kick this time for Sporting, though, and they will make a substitution in a moment as well. They're warming up the Romanian Marius Nicolai.
It's only the second time I think the ref's got it wrong in this game, and the second time he's been conned.
Steve McLaren will be proud of his players, I'm sure. What a great... we talk loosely about learning curves and learning experiences, but there's no substitute for this sort of a match.
I think they'll be absolutely gutted. Because, this has been a real adventure for them, hasn't it? They really do give the impression they've enjoyed every moment.
Now that substitution won't happen, and here is Viana's free kick, tipped over by Schwarzer. They were about to make a substitution, and then they changed their minds. The free kick was taken by Hugo Viana, and it was a good one as well, curling in all the way.
Great free kick. It's always one of those where, when it's central areas, you're not quite sure which side he's going to put it.
And here is that switch. The player who is coming off is Edson. And the one who's coming on is a striker, Nicolai, a 23-year-old Romanian. Steve Claridge talking a moment ago about having a goal every 2-game record this season. Well, this fella has at international level for Romania 24 caps and 12 goals.
It's not bad, is it?
Not bad at all. Romania have always had good strikers.
I think 1 in 2 for Wickham is probably a little bit different to 1 in 2 from Romania.
Twin with Wickham. There's the opportunity, which Sports, well, I won't say he fumbled it, he just dropped it with his fingers.
Well, decent soft hands. I'm not quite sure
it's going to yellow card
to come through to him.
There hasn't been one all night. Then Nicolai's been on the field for 10 seconds, and he's got a yellow card. It's a good productivity rate. That's why he got it. You can't do that. He's barely played all season. This is his UEFA Cup debut, by the way, for Sporting this season. And the referee says play on. The ball was out.
Over the two legs, I mean, you obviously know more than I do. You saw the first leg. But you'd say they've shaded it, wouldn't you?
Yes. They had those chances. It's an if-only night, isn't it? Yeah. If only they'd taken one of those two excellent chances. That's another poor ball. The one for Nemeth in the first half, which was cleared off the line by Rui Jorge. The one in the second half when Joe stabbed it wide, having been set up by Nemeth.
I think it would have been interesting to see how they actually reacted, because it would have been one of two ways. They would have stepped the game up, or they would have panicked.
Yeah, I think when you referred earlier to maybe they won't go all the way, I think the fact is that there is a carrot dangled for this club in the fact that the final is here. Yeah. And a bit like a couple of years ago when the final was in Rotterdam. Here he goes, Douala. He's done this cleverly. This might be the blow. That's the blow. That's it finished with. Barbosa, the man who started the rout last week, is the man who has finished it and sent Sporting Lisbon into the last 8, and it was Douala's pace that unhinged Borough then. They were overstretched, and when he pulled it back, there was a net inviting Barbosa to strike it into the net beyond Mark Schwarzer. Steve McLaren can relax on an excellent campaign. He knows it's all over now. Sporting Lisbon are going through.
That was the first time he's actually picked anyone out, Douala. I mean, he's got in that situation so many times. The important thing when you get in those positions is the weight of the ball. You know, we said about Job's miss from Nemeth, and I thought the weight of the ball was a little bit too strong. Thought that it was absolutely perfect. It's into his path, he can take it first time. He can actually pick his spot rather than having to concentrate on the ball. As you say, it doesn't really, it didn't take any of the shine off the performance. They just, you know, I mean, it was coming, wasn't it? We've got to say that. Yeah. They gave everything for 65 minutes, and it's just proved the bridge too far in the end.
A few dejected looks there. We saw Bolo Zenden in particular. Joy on the other side. I think there's just a couple of minutes left. It's 4-2 the aggregate score. A couple of minutes to be added on. That is all. So it's too much for Borough, and it'd be a shame if they lost by more than a single goal now. This is Nicolai. And Borough have suddenly found themselves on the rack here, stretched right at the very end of the night. Vajana's the one on the ball here. Nicolai stabs it back towards him.
It was when as soon as he changed the shape, that, you know, it was either going to work or it wasn't going to work. You know, it's one of those things you've got to do. You've got to have a go. You know, unfortunately, by the time the two boys have come on, you know, it's probably the rest of the team haven't had the legs really, have they, to step it up again.
It was always going to be a difficult task for Borough, and Steve McLaren is going to give a little more European experience to another of his youngsters now. Yeah, David Wheater, who's an 18-year-old centre-back from Redcar, or Redcar, as they said up there in that part of the world, is going to get a minute of European action. They might get a goal here. Oh, no, whistle's gone. It's one of those nights where you don't feel they are going to get a goal here, but it's nice that the nice touch this from Steve McLaren. And David Wheater, who's made terrific progress, I'm told, in the youth side and reserves, is going to get a run out in Europe. They also say he's very, very dangerous coming on late in matches as well. I think he's got a goal or two in the reserves doing that, even though he's a centre-back. He's one who loves to get forward.
Where will he play? Centre half, or?
Well, that's his natural position, is centre half. That's where he's going.
I don't know whether they'll just chuck him on up front.
Well, it would have been nice for him to get a goal, wouldn't it? But 1-0 is very respectable, and they've played very respectably. I think that's the word for the performance, really.
Steve McLaren, absolutely no problem with this tonight.
No. As you say, the problem might be at the weekend, lifting them again for the Southampton game.
That's the one, isn't it?
Bearing in mind he's got nobody to bring back.
No. I mean, we were saying earlier, I mean, we were talking from someone from the Middlesbrough camp, and they were saying the problem being is that we're putting the same 11 out week in, week out. That's the problem. That's where it's caught up with us. You know, and to play at that tempo and that pace, you know, often for 2 games a week like they have, it's virtually impossible. I'm going to get fans will be going, but believe you me, it is.
The goal scorer is going to be relieved for the last 60 seconds or so. Pedro Barbosa. I've really been impressed by this fella over the 2 games. He's an influential player. And he scores goals. Right place, right time.
It's a good finish, isn't it? To be fair, I mean, he's picked his spot. Good composure.
And he's giving way to Martins for the last few seconds of the night. Carlos Martins, who's a 22-year-old, has a couple of goals this season, both scored against Vitória Guimarães. And a free kick here. It'd be a shame for it to be 2-0, wouldn't it, really? But they're through. There's no arguing about that. It's 4-2, the aggregate score. And they do go for goal, but well, it dipped. And it was the last act of the match, I think. Well, Martins didn't make much of a contribution, but Steve McLaren well pleased. My thanks to Steve Claridge here in the Alvalade Stadium. The Middlesbrough supporters know it's been a terrific European adventure. They've seen their side score some cracking goals against some cracking teams. But there'll be no more Europe, no more UEFA Cup for Steve McLaren and his brave Middlesbrough band of followers. But they will be cheered to the echo as they leave the pitch here. Sporting Lisbon have done the job. They really did it with those 3 goals early in the second half last week at the Riverside. They've cemented their position thanks to Pedro Barbosa's goal, the only one of the night here, and they will take their place in the last 8 of this season's UEFA Cup. The thoughts of Anderson and Pat Levin coming up when we come back with John, but for now we take a break here from the action in Lisbon.
Sky Bet. It matters more when there's money on it. 0800 975 0550.
I'm sorry, Cheryl. It's over.
Okay. What's Dave just done wrong?
He should have got his mate to dump her.
She should have got in there first. Good. But no, if he'd waited until 6 o'clock to dump Cheryl, the call would have been free. As an Energy customer, he could sign up to get free evening and weekend calls. Another reason to be with British Gas. So come on, you two. Kiss and make up.
British Gas, doing the right thing.
What are you doing tonight?
Just gonna go home, watch the footy on the telly. About you?
Yeah, I'm snowed under, mate, actually. So, yeah, I won't be home till much, much later.
All right, see you later.
Bye.
Oh, dear. Got that report. Monday.
Cheers.
Carlin, spot on.
Don't you recognize me? I am you 50 years from now. You know, you'll see and do some amazing things in your life. You're going to travel far across time, space, and there are people who will help to organize your life. They'll play a big part in your future. Ah, Victor, you know you're gonna have a good life. I'm sorry, a big nose.
First has been answered.
The new Renault Modus. Grow up, what for?
My name's Lance Corporal Graham Weston, and I know that when you're on operations, there's certain people that you want to keep in with, and a lot of them are in the Territorial Army. the posties, the drivers, the vehicle mechanics, and especially the chefs like me. More pepper! As a TA specialist supporting the army, I bring my skills as a chef from Civvy Street here to use here, and in return they give me skills I can use here. 19 days a year on regular army pay. Interested? Go to ta.mod.uk for your free TA guide.
I'm under a lot of stress, yeah? Not as much as me, Paddy. You're not expecting 20 years next week, are you?
I was severely hurt them. I did things that I wish he never did today.
Did you ever kill a man?
Yeah, I suppose I'll be arrested.
McIntyre's Underworld, Gangster, 5 to 11, Tuesday on 5.
It matters more when there's money on it. Now on 5.
Well, disappointment for these Borough fans, although you wouldn't believe it looking at them, as they go out of this year's UEFA Cup competition losing 1-0 to Sporting Lisbon. Football's a cruel game, isn't it? They didn't deserve that tonight. They put in a fantastic performance.
They certainly did. All the way from the start of the game, first 10 minutes afterwards, they've really gone for it. And you just knew when they started missing one or two chances, and the worst one possibly was Job's one, but well, I think they've done well.
Yeah, Viv, you know, you say goals change games, but also misses changes games as well. And after Job missed that chance, you could see, you know, it just drained the Middlesbrough place. So had that chance gone in,
yeah, it would have been completely different. And he scored within 5 minutes of the second half. It would have been a really interesting game after that. He scores a fantastic goal last week. He has a great chance this week. Somebody said it was a little bit hard. We'll see it a bit later, but I thought it was a great chance.
Well, let's hear from one of Middlesbrough's heroes tonight, Bolo Zenden, as he speaks with Dave Beckett.
Bolo, you certainly didn't deserve to lose tonight, did you?
No, I think we gave it a good shot. Of course, we knew they were capable of keeping the ball. That's why we choose actually to let them play from the back. And as soon as they came to the middle, that's where we put our pressure, and hopefully to get on the wrong pass, get the counter-attack. And I think especially in the second half, we had some fairly good chances because we had a proper go at it. And of course, if you do get the 1-0, it will make a lot of a different type of game. And well, of course, towards the end, you try what you can to get a result, and then they hit you on the counter.
You're just looking back to the Riverside, I suppose, and 15 minutes there, which have knocked you out of Europe, really.
Yeah, of course. Straight after half-time, we conceded a goal, and that made it a lot more difficult. And of course, losing 3-2 at home, we knew this was going to be very difficult. And not to mention as well, I mean, we got about 7 players out that could have started today, and I mean, the young lads have done fantastic. We can't ask anything more. And with the team we had out today, I think we've done a fantastic job and still tried to get a result, and maybe we deserve better than what we had today at the end.
Briefly, how crucial to get into Europe again, because I know you've said you need to play European football next season?
Well, it's important for the club. I mean, we know what it gave us this year. We were capable of signing players. We were capable of having a very good football. We've had a run until the last 16, and today we came. Well, of course, in the first leg as well, we came against an opponent that had better football than we did at the day. Of course, for me, it's important as well.
Thanks, Bolo.
Well, Viv, he was saying about getting 1-0 up and then taking it from there, and we know what he's talking about with the 1-0. We know the chance he's talking about had this gone in from Joseph Désiré Job.
Yeah, it's a fantastic chance. No, but it's a good mistake by the goalkeeper. I think the goalkeeper tries to play it to his left back. He cuts it out, Nemeth cuts it out, and he slides it across the box. It was a little bit hard.
But was he expecting it? You said he's a fantastic player, but finishing it is his strong point. He may not be an out-and-out goal scorer, and he showed there.
Exactly that. He's not an out-and-out goal, as you just said. Right. I'd like to see Alan Shearer in that position. I think it'd been gone in the net.
And of course, Pat, you can see the disappointment after that. It kind of drained out of them, and of course, it then led to Sporting Lisbon scoring the goal. But by that time, the tie was over.
Yeah, I feel sorry for him. Talking about that chance beforehand, just one word to say: Hasselbank. That would have been scored. But Douala, we said before the game, he's a quality player and he's got some pace, and as I said in the commentary, he didn't pick players out all the time when they got there, but you can't complain about it. They deserved a 0-0, at least a 0-0 tonight, and that was a decent goal. But I have to say, Stephen Clarence changed the tactics but then and gone for it.
Yeah, it was a good performance. Well, coming up after the break, we'll have the competition winner, and we're also hoping to hear from Middlesbrough manager Steve McLaren, so don't go away.
Sky Bet. It matters more when there's money on it. 0800 975 0550.
Bacardi, welcome to the Latin Quarter.
You are a mercenary. Blow up anything. Blow it up again. Keep blowing stuff up. Blow the living hell out of it. Blow the living hell out of it some more. Mercenaries, Playground of Destruction, in stores now.
Hello Dixons. New Slimline PlayStation 2. 2 top games including Gran Turismo 4, the ultimate driving game.
In store now at Dixons, the future for less.
Heavens! I forgot to renew the car insurance. Must telephone the broker at once. Telephone, dear? We're not in the dark ages. This is a job for Mr. Mouse. By going online to esure.com, the mouse cuts out the middleman and could save us a tidy sum. What a clever little mouse. I bought him some cheese. Calm down, dear. It's not a real mouse. Oh, I think he's asleep. esure.com. Great value car insurance at the click of a mouse.
David Redshaw. Yeah? This, I believe, is yours. You left it in a bar the other night. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but when you consider that beer's a Heineken, it becomes a different matter. Come on, let me explain. Heineken has changed. It's brewed in sideways tanks, not upright, sideways. We got rid of the 3.4%, and it's now the 5% ABV you drink abroad. So when we see people not appreciating all the efforts we've gone to, it makes us kind of upset. Yeah. So next time you order Heineken, just remember how it's made. What do we got? Paul Walters built this pint last Thursday. Let's go.
I've got 2 tickets to paradise. I've got 2 tickets to paradise. Excellent guitar riff.
It's the day before the family holiday, and the brakes start making this funny squealing sound. Talk about timing. I tried a few garages, but nobody would give me the time of day without an appointment. I heard QuickFit were good, so I gave them a try. Now, they're really busy, but I explained my story to the guys, and they just bent over backwards to fit me in. They even did the job then and there, so they saved the holiday. Pity they didn't fix the weather. QuickFit will fix it.
Women, don't expect any help on a Thursday.
Nuts about women, motors, sport, read Nuts. This week, free giant Abby Titmus poster.
You gotta ask yourself a question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
Sky Bet. It matters more when there's money on it. Now on 5.
Well, sadly, Borough are out, but last night Newcastle went through and Pat Alan Shearer was once again the hero.
I think everyone's been talking about the fact that is he going to win the FA Cup? You look at the way it's going from the UEFA Cup, this could be the one. And no, it's a decent, typical Shearer finish there, but as lively as ever. And I just don't think Newcastle fans can believe he's
after
retiring.
that record, isn't he?
Oh, Jackie Robin, he's chasing them down all the way, and as a policeman, what a great run the run. What a fantastic run the run.
Well, here you can see the last 8, apart from Steaua Bucharest against Villarreal, who played the second leg on Sunday. Still some good teams in there. Newcastle, obviously, the last British team, and you have CSKA Moscow, Sporting Lisbon, so still an exciting competition. Speaking of competitions, congratulations to Miss C Love from Middlesbrough. You are the winner of £5,000, and you correctly identified Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank as being Dutch. And don't forget, 5:35 Saturday week, Ireland's World Cup qualifier against Israel over in Tel Aviv, live here on 5. Let's now hear from Steve McLaren as he talks to Dave Beckett.
Steve, that must be as frustrating an evening as you can possibly have.
What a magnificent performance by the players. Yes, frustrating. We had 3 great chances to get that first vital goal. But, you know, the game was decided by inches, and they didn't deserve that goal at the end. I can't fault the players.
What do you take from this European experience?
It's been absolutely magnificent. A fantastic experience. And we've handled it so well. The club, the admin staff, the playing staff, you know, all those in the back room, the coaches. We've handled Europe really well, had a great run. It's come to an end, we're disappointed, but we've got a little taste for it. And we enjoyed this evening, although we go out, we want more of it next year.
All right, thanks very much, Steve.
Thanks a lot.
Viv, how would you sum up their exploit in Europe this year?
I think Steve summed it up spottingly. It's great, really well there. He's saying that it's been a great experience. Some of the young lads, he's bred some of the young lads through, and I think it's been great. Great for Steve Gibson. He takes a big pat on the back, and they want to try and get there next year.
And of course, Pat, they can get there next year because, you know, they're 8th in the league, but they're only a few points off, you know, 5th and 6th spots, so they can still get there next year.
Yeah, I mean, tonight we're thinking about the cutting edge that they didn't have. At this level, you kind of need quality, really, and maybe that little bit of quality wasn't really there in there. But I think, in a funny way, it's kind of been a good night for them. You can actually look back at it and think it's, you know, it has actually been a good competition for them, and they're back on track after the difficult times in the league.
Exactly right, and a good game on Saturday.
Well, they do have an opportunity through the league to get there again next year because they can solely concentrate on the league, and you can see them here, although they are 8th. And if you feel that Liverpool can catch Everton, as some of us do feel, Middlesbrough won't be that far away, the 4th or 5th spot themselves, so they can still get there.
They can still get there, and they've learned a huge amount this season. The players that they've learned in Europe, they're very, very close in the league just now to getting into Europe again. I'm looking at those kids there, Danny Graham, McMahon, Downing, Parnaby, and even David Wheater and Alan Johnson tonight. So that's fantastic that those young lads have got that opportunity to learn a little bit more. And I think if they get everybody fit, they've got a great chance of going further next year.
And as Steve said, they've got a taste for it.
Yeah. Thanks, Pat. Thanks, Viv. Well, it's been a wonderful experience for Middlesbrough in their first European adventure, and it's been a pleasure for us here on 5 to have been with them every step of the way. Sadly, all good things come to an end, but after last week's disappointment, at least they can go out with their heads held high. Good night.